Who's ready for the Dirt Life Show?
Yeah. What is up? Welcome to the Dirt Life Show. We're at episode 47 tonight. Man, it has been a pretty long journey, but it seems short at the same time. My name is Georgie Hamill, and next to me, we got Casey Peck back in the studio. Welcome back, bud.
What's happening?
How's things going today for you? Long day at work?
Long day at work, doing okay.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, we have some awesome topics to talk about tonight. We have our featured guest, Alan Ampudia. He's going to come on a little bit later. It's going to be awesome to talk with him, man. He's been doing so much cool stuff, man. He's a Baja 1000 champion. He's just had such a long bloodline of racing, man. His dad, his brothers, like, man, it is just so cool. So he's the epitome of the dirt life. And so it'll be cool to talk with him and kind of get his opinions on what's going on in 2020, just everything that's going on in his life, man. It'll be really neat to be able to understand what it is and what it feels like to drive a trophy truck and win at a badass race like that, man. So
like the most important one.
I know, right? The
Yeah.
biggest off-road event in the world, pretty much. Well, I guess I don't know if you call it an off-road event, but more rally event for the car. But yeah, so thank you.
True.
Yeah, so thank you guys very much for tuning in and joining us. We really appreciate it, as always. You guys are our lifeblood. So please comment in anytime. Hey, Matt, how you doing, bud? Comment in anytime. Feel free to ask us any questions. We have some pretty cool topics that we're going to be talking about. Ford is actually releasing their Bronco right now, so there's probably going to be a lot of people ditching out on us watching the live Ford Bronco release show going on right now.
I think it's pretty cool.
But it was pretty cool. So we saw a little bit of a preview of it. So we're going to talk about that. We got Cody Sanders calling in a few minutes, and it's going to be neat to talk about what's going on in Arizona, because he runs a awesome side-by-side page called 520 Side-by-Side that just has all kinds of cool events. They had an event for me. They have events for the whole community. They have rides that they schedule, all kinds of cool stuff. So he's going to talk about that, and who knows what we'll get into, man. So I know hardly anybody is going riding during the day now because it's so freaking hot outside, but it'll be cool to see what all the community has going on. And before we get into everything, though, I definitely want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. Excuse me. So thank you very much to the guys over at Shock Therapy. We have a live Shock Therapy show that we're going to be doing this Friday. July 17th? And Matt Burke just commented in. We're going to be up there interviewing him. So formerly DynoJet Matt worked over there. Now he's working with the guys over at Shock Therapy. I think that's a match made in heaven. So he's going to be helping with, I think, dealer sales and stuff like that. So he's going to be an integral part of the Shock Therapy team now. So we're going to talk with him this weekend, on Friday, about just all kinds of cool stuff, man. Off-road racing, business. It's just going to be a good time. So we're going to be up at Shock Therapy Friday evening and just have a good time with it. So it'll be pretty fun. So we're stoked to talk with Matt. And you can always use this code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com, or you can give those guys at Shock Therapy a call and save a whole bunch of money. They are always down to help you guys out. I know Casey has some buddies that already got their shock therapy stuff.
Definitely some good testimonies. I love that they're called the therapist.
Yeah.
It's genius.
It really is.
It really
and their
is.
logo is so cool.
It is awesome.
It's so thank you very much to the Shock Therapy guys. We really appreciate everything that they do for us. And as you can see, we got this awesome KMC grenade wheel over here.
And my favorite.
Oh, the candle.
Yeah, I've missed that.
That candle. KMC has this candle that Ryan Edwards sent over to us, and that thing it's called the Smell of Victory. It really is. Like, it does smell like victory, man. It smells
8 ounces
so
of freedom.
It is awesome. So the guys at KMC Wheels, man, they have been just an awesome partner to have, and we can't wait to keep that partnership going. We're going to do a giveaway with some stuff that Ryan had given us. Like, we have a few hats and different swag, some bandanas and stuff like that. So we're going to do a giveaway in the next couple weeks here with those guys. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be awesome. Thank you very, very much to the guys at Zollinger Racing Products. Those guys are just building awesome stuff. The products that they build are just bar none, man. So we really appreciate those guys. You can use the code DIRTLIFE over at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Save a whole bunch of money over there as well. The guys at Rugged Radios are helping you guys out with a big old fat discount too. So use the code DIRTLIFE at RuggedRadios.com. And obviously, partner that's been with us for a few years, Solderweld. So thank you very much to the guys at Solderweld. Lance and his team are really, really trying hard to grow their product and get into different markets. They're doing a really good job, actually, and they're doing motocross now. So that's going to be pretty cool to see them, get into the motocross world. So you can use the code DIRTLIFE at solderweld.com and save a whole bunch of money with that stuff too. So
and protect your items.
Yeah, this new blanket is cool.
It's super cool.
Like, how cool would this be to like weld with, man?
Oh man.
So for those that aren't
better
watching,
than a wet towel, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. How many times have you lit a white towel on fire?
Exactly.
Even when you wet it down, right?
Yep.
So for those of you that aren't watching the live feed and you're archiving it or listening to it on iTunes, Solderweld has they call it a blanket, but it's basically like a welding blanket, and it has a slit in it, some eyelets, and some magnets. It's super, super cool because you can use it in so many different cases. It goes along with their off-road repair kit. You can take the whole thing with you in your truck. So were you able to start your watch party on Facebook?
It was.
I wasn't able to do
going.
it, man. I don't know what the heck's going on with mine.
It was like 4 things down though.
Well, yeah, I think it's because I switched it. Like I got a new way to stream our stuff to Facebook, and it's been working way better for the studio. So
good.
Who knows? Maybe I can start a watch party of my own in just a second here. One of the things that I wanted to mention. I just went through a whole bunch of crap with my headset, but
I know. Are you going to be able to?
I don't know. We're going to have to
stay on.
We're going to have to see how it goes, man. I'm going to look really stupid today, but I have my my headset a little sideways because I had some inner ear surgery last week, so we're going to have to just deal with it and see what happens. I don't want to put any noise going through my ear because I got a bunch of new titanium ear bones in there. So
did they up the compression?
Yeah, exactly. They bored it out, and it's all good. And we're using like really good oils and stuff in there now too. So, but I'm doing good. So I'm glad that I could do the show. I was a little scared that wasn't gonna be able to, but this is like looks really dumb, but it's actually the most comfortable putting it right here. I'll see if I can keep it in the back. But so be patient with us, and if you hear any racket going on, it's probably because I'm moving my headphones around on the show. So real quick, I wanted to get out of the way. You had the week off last week, and the reason was because your dad passed away. Awesome man in general. I don't want to get the studio too heavy. It's already getting me teared up just thinking about it, but I was thinking about some of the cool stories that I have with you. I mean, there were so many, like building jumps, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yep.
But one came to mind that I thought was super cool because it changed the rest of my life pretty much. So we lived on dirt roads when we were growing up, dirt life. And, it was cool because Casey lived at the top of this hill in a pretty big house, and we kind of lived down in a little valley. But between the houses, we had like little motocross tracks set up, and Casey kind of had a little track in his backyard and bicycle jumps everywhere.
Yep.
And so we'd ride bicycles up to each other's houses. And the cool part about it is that at the top of the hill, you could kind of see everything. And so I saw like, I don't know, you and your dad were doing something up there, so I cruised my bicycle up there because I was playing outside or whatever. And when I cruised up there, your dad was riding a 20-inch BMX bike, just a regular BMX bike, sitting on the handlebars backwards with his back going forward and pedaling backwards, sitting on the handlebars, right? Mm-hmm. So he wasn't using the seat at all. And I don't know what age we were. Maybe we were 6, 8, 10 years old, something. We were young. And so I was thinking to myself, I was like, how the heck is he doing that? Like,
we couldn't. He always tried to get us to do it. We couldn't do it.
So I ended up being able to do it, but not anywhere near his. So it brought two things up in my mind. I was like, first of all, you and I should have talked about this in previous shows, like on your actual show. The natural talent that he had with two wheels was like way better than any of us had.
It was pretty insane.
I remember him getting on we'll get back to the story, but I remember him getting on like an older YZ 250 dirt bike. And, we thought we were awesome, right? Like, we're like, oh, dude, we're intermediate. Like, we're cool. Like, we're fast, right?
Right.
And he was just as fast or faster than us. I was like, and he's like going out there. He could only do a few laps because he would get tired. But it was like, my God.
He would do wheelies like all the way across Coleman's.
Yeah.
Remember at
wherever he wanted.
Yeah.
Like the coordination, balance, and everything that he had was like off the chain.
Gymnast.
But the thing that I remember about going up and watching him ride the bicycle backwards is that we were trying so hard, right? We couldn't do that day. We couldn't do it. I mean, it probably
never could.
Never?
I still won't do it.
I don't think I could do it now. But like, I ended up being able to do it for a decent amount. Not anywhere like your dad, but it probably took me a year to figure it out. But I remember sitting there thinking to myself, cool, I'm a little kid. I'm going to try this. But like understanding what that did in a fatherly aspect, it totally changed the way that, maybe for you too, the way that I saw the world after that. Because you're not supposed to ride a bike backwards, right?
Right.
Like, first of all, it's difficult.
Right.
But it's just something that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, it's not natural either.
It's not natural, but the outlook of it was, maybe you don't have to do everything normal anymore.
Right.
This is a life lesson learned that you can think outside the box a little bit. Maybe things aren't going right at work. You think outside the box a little bit and you do it backwards.
Yep. He was the king of that. That's for sure.
So you just got to come up with your own little things to do. And now looking back on it years and years later, I really do think that instant changed the way that I looked at it going forward. Like, it was super cool to see that. And, he was like a second dad to me too. So much love, Jim. We miss you, bud. So I appreciate you coming in the studio, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
And
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. So, and the family's doing good too?
Doing all right. Yep.
So let's move on to the next subject. We got, Zach Osborne did a GNCC this weekend.
How cool is it to see his get up all ready to go on his bike? Like I think he even ran his number, just added a 1 in front of it, I think, right?
Did he?
I think so. But anyways, it looked like his stuff, but then he was gearing up to go do something totally out of his realm. You know what I mean?
Do the off-road guys, or does Husqvarna have an off-road team too?
I'm not sure.
I feel like they might.
Positive. I know
KTM does.
Yeah, I would think so, but I'm not positive. But it was super cool to see that. Like, it looked like Steve was totally switching gears and going to a whole new...
Oh, you're talking about Steve Westfall?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, friend of the show, like you say?
Yep.
That was pretty cool. And so that's kind of like what we were just talking about with your dad. Like, he's doing a totally different thing, like thinking outside the box, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not anything even close to what, like, even motocross really is.
Right.
Because there's so many different skill sets that you have to have, right? Because the bike is completely different, the setup, the riding style, everything.
I think, like everything. And if you think about how well he's coming into his own in the premier class on the big bike right now, and then
switching,
he switches, does a whole nother thing, and knowing how talented he is, and he gets, what, a 7th?
Yeah, I think he got
which
a 7th.
Which is still awesome. I'm not taking anything away from those guys, but that just tells you how hard that would be, because that guy's no slouch, and he's a gritty dude.
So you're saying, like, the other guys, like, to be able to compete at their level, like, you got to be, like, super on point?
I think it totally gives more credit, or the credit that it should, to the guys that do that.
That's a really good point, actually.
Because he's a full factory guy. He has everything he could need. You know what I mean? And, devoted, dedicated mechanics that can set it up the best they can, do everything, and then he just shows up. And 2 things. He was top 10, so that's awesome. But then at the same time, think of the quality of a rider he is, and he's only 7th. That just, again, tells you how, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're the best at it, there, major respect.
How much do you think, dude, I couldn't agree more, yeah. And Zach Osborne's never been, like, my favorite. I know you're a huge fan of him, but how difficult do you think it would be to switch gears like that? I know, like, when we rode, we would do really crappy at something like that.
Right. Yeah, and then also to maybe switch gears a little bit, it kind of goes to what Sipes is doing.
Yeah, that's true.
It just shows, like, he's the perfect example of it, obviously, where he can jump around and still be, quote unquote, at the top or in the top 10 or top 5 or whatever. It speaks pretty highly of those guys and how dedicated they are. And again, I don't know what the circumstances were. Well, actually we do. Motocross didn't kick off. So they're like, well, let's not sit around. Let's go do something. So they go.
Wonder whose idea it was.
I don't know. It was pretty cool though, for sure.
You think it was Westfall's?
I wonder.
Maybe he's like, hey, Zach, you want to go race him, like get through the trees?
He's a pretty smart guy. So yeah, I could see him wanting to say, what can we do?
Well, I gained a little bit more respect for Zacho since I saw him. I know he did a couple of those, like, what's the other enduro race that they have? ISDE, like, and stuff like that. So, but I didn't really pay attention to it or follow it. And since, we've obviously got a little bit better relationship with Steve now and stuff, I wanted to follow it a little bit more. And when I looked at it, I was just thinking, like, if I was putting myself in a position like that, I would be a little bit scared. I mean, you're doing motocross and supercross for so many years now, right? Like,
everything's like muscle memory for him.
Honed in, yeah. I mean, going around a supercross track for him is just like moving.
Now the scenery is different and the whole vibe's different. I mean, at least he has the same guys he can count on. I mean, Steve's there as the, chief mechanic
he was able
and
to
crew
do
chief
any,
and all that stuff.
Yeah. So he's got a little bit of comfort.
Right.
Do you think he was able to do any practicing and getting things lined up for that? Because
I don't think they did. It looked like I would imagine they went and rode somewhere, but I don't think it was like
use a setup from somebody else and kind of just.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
Dang, dude.
It's pretty impressive.
If they did do something like that, that's even more respectable because he really did just kind of get off the couch and just do it.
Right. It's like it reminds me of Ray Penske was talking about one afternoon they just decided to go to the dunes.
Yeah.
Like you're not prepped or anything, and they're just like, hey, let's go to the dunes tonight.
Yep, exactly. We got Brian Hawkins commenting in. He's the one that told me that Ford was going to do their Bronco release today. So, yeah, honestly, Brian, I looked at it too. Casey kind of checked it out. We did a little premiere of it, and it looks pretty cool, man.
It looks really cool.
It did. When they were sending it through some of those bumps, though, it looked like a Bronco.
Yeah, totally.
Like it was bucking through there.
And, yeah, he says it's weird seeing me in pants. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, especially since it's 105, 110 out.
Long day.
So
long week.
Before we start talking about the Ford Bronco stuff and the new Jeep V8, I wanted to mention, I think there's a lot of people that are coming up with creative ideas in the C19 year 2020, right? And I think Can-Am or BRP came up with a really cool idea. So they started a program, I read, it's called, it's a pilot program, but it's going to be called Uncharted Society. And basically what it is I think they're going to have
an interesting name.
Well, I think it's because they're trying to see if they can get people away from what their normal is.
Yeah.
Like just what we had been talking about.
Well, even just the name gets you to think. Like I'm already like, okay, what's this about?
Exactly.
So that's a good job on their part.
So, give credit to the Canadians, right? So I think it's going to be pretty cool, though. So I think they're going to have demos, and they're going to be it sounded like when I read the press release, they're going to be pretty intimate demos. So they're going to be a few people, a few vehicles, and they're going to do it like off-road ones with their Can-Am products. They'll probably do utility ones, and they said they were also going to do watercraft ones as well. And I'm sure that they'll do some of their quad ones too, maybe like swamping or whatever they got those guys do. But I thought it was such a good idea. Because what they're doing is they're given an opportunity to bypass all of the different things that are happening. Like They don't have to worry about, you do it in a state that's a little bit more forgiving. You still, obey all the rules that the government has put in place, but you still get to give these people the opportunity to go out and do something when people have all this free time. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's smart. Yep. Thinking outside the box.
I think it's really cool.
Yep.
And just like the bicycle shops and the dealerships, they're all selling out of inventory.
I know, it's crazy.
So for them to step up and have this available is so cool because now they're like, oh crap, I can't go buy one. Well, let me go test drive one.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
sure.
I think it'll be really cool. I'm really interested to see where this actually goes, and it'd be neat to see other manufacturers jump on board with something like this too.
Definitely.
And get a bunch of people. We got Cody Sanders calling in, so take his call real quick, and then we'll get back to some of the other subjects. Cody, what's going on, bud?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Good, bro. How are you doing? A long time no talk, right?
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you live life, dude.
How's work been going with all this C19?
It's been really busy, man. We've lost a lot of staff. They're off or something's going on here and there, and it's been a little short, so it's been a lot more work, but it's been fun.
Does that mean that you get more time to go off-roading?
Dude, come on. I wish. Other than it's 100 and what? 100? How hot was the day? 110 or something?
Dude, so I don't know if you
It was
saw
so bad yesterday.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
gosh.
pretty gnarly, especially with the humidity.
I mean, it's bad today.
For
sure.
Yeah, and with the storms and stuff.
Right.
I don't know if you saw, Cody, but I posted something on my social media the other day, and I went on a bike ride, and it was like 108 or something. And so I was like, dude, I wonder how hot the cement is. So I measured the temperature inside my truck, and then I drove down the street to just check the pavement where I was at. My inside of my truck when I got in was 142 degrees, and the pavement was 148 degrees.
I saw that. I did see that. And it blows my mind. And the people that you still see walking dogs, man, it blows my mind.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Poor babies.
You got to do it at like 4:30 in the morning.
Got to get him some shoes.
I was looking at
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get him some Vans.
You seen those? Yeah.
Get him some Vans.
Yeah, they need some Vans.
Well, at 4:30 in the morning.
No, they need some aired out Uggs, George. Aired out Uggs, like drilled holes in it for summertime,
Just in case they need them, like when they go off-roading.
Never know.
What's been going down with you, man?
Oh, man, I got really sick at the beginning of March. I know you and I talked about it a little bit through that. The old Rona took over, and then fought that off, got better. It took me a while. Ended up going back to work. Just kind of been trying to stay positive with everything in the world that's going on. And, the only thing that I see that's mostly positive lately is, all the people in the side-by-side world is huge right now. And that's mostly what I follow, and the dirt life. Yeah. And people are just trying to stay positive, and it's nice to be able to go on all these forums or these Facebook pages or watch your show and understand that you don't have to see the bad, what's going on in the world. You guys keep it positive, and it's just all around the off-road scene. The community has been really, really good to watch and keep track of,
I couldn't agree with it more.
Good point. And I think when you get caught up in your, just speaking of racers, when you get caught up in your little microcosm of racing, there's lots of things to pick apart. And now that nobody's racing, I think everybody's like, I better straighten my butt up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Get back to the roots.
Yeah, let's literally look at the positive.
Well, it's just hard because you pull up Facebook and you see, somebody out there on your Facebook or Instagram that has to post something. And it's kind of like, if you just stay off of it and you don't put yourself in that, and it'll slow down a lot faster. And so just being able to be in a sport that we're in keeps that positive vibe going. Walk out in the garage and go, man, I worked hard for that. We're still good. I'm alive. Let's keep going. That's how I feel when I walk in the garage.
Yeah, that's
100%.
Good. Love it.
So you, for those that may or may not remember, you have a 520 side-by-side page on Facebook that has a whole bunch of members, and it's mostly Southern Arizona, but you do all of Arizona, and you cover, you have a group, and you have a whole bunch of people that are supporting the group. You guys do events and giveaways and rides and all kinds of stuff, so it's really, really cool. But what have you guys been doing lately with all the stuff that's going on?
Well, usually we have a big event in Bowie, Arizona, pretty close to the New Mexico border. Every year we do a camp out, you ramp out, a lot of sponsors, vendors show up, get all the family together and just have a good weekend, and that got canceled beginning of March. And then it just so happened it was perfect timing that it actually ended up getting canceled because I got really sick. And then we're supposed to have another event through a town here called One Off-Road. Matt Mishko and Jacob Lancaster own it here in Tucson. And that fell through, and a couple other show and glows and stuff. And, it's been so bad because we've been shut down. And we worked so hard on doing these events for people to come together and, like we did for yours, to help your situation out and be there for you. And so when they get canceled, it's kind of like, it's just like a hit, you know what I mean? It's like, man, you just want to get everyone together, especially right now in this terrible time. So when we had to cancel it, we ended up, actually, you probably saw it this weekend, Matt Mishko and them, they decided that they wanted to keep the funsies going. So we coordinated with another Facebook group here in town in Tucson called 1530. And we put a event on with Matt, and Matt did all these giveaways, man, after their first year. And, you know, they did such a good job, and it give back to the community and be positive, stay positive. I mean, some of these videos, man, he was wearing these Halloween masks, and he would, for instance, he would be like, all right, you know, on the hour, every hour he'd give away something. And, you know, he would wear this mask and say, all right, guys, I need, the guys are hungry. They need tacos. First one here with tacos.
Nice.
Gave away, I couldn't even tell you, man, thousands of dollars worth of merchandise and product. It was great. It was a good thing. I mean, a lot of people that came through, they're happy. You know, they maintained their 6 feet distance. You know, it was really nice to know that people are still willing to try and make it work to make everybody happy.
Like Casey was saying, thinking outside the box. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's just, that's what it's about. And we need to come together, and you know how I do things, man. It's one of those things, you know, you got to keep it going, and we got to turn to the dirt life stuff, man, because the rest of the world's having issues, and that's what we have right now.
Dude, even the pavement life that I just told you about, 150 degrees. I'm not trying to go out there. I need more dirt.
Right.
That's what the nighttime's all about, man. Get some of those LEDs on that bike, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I should. Casey said that the night riding on the mountain bike and stuff is super fun.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, they used to do one over here. Didn't they have one over here by our house over here? Like Fantasy Island, they used to do like an all-nighter thing or something.
Yeah, they did have like a, man, I forget what they call it, but even just like anybody that just decides to like, hey, I'm going to go see my local trail, and then you see it at night, you guys see it when you do, you know, side-by-side trail, all of a sudden it's totally different.
Yeah, that's true, because it changes the whole outlook.
So even though it's something that you've, you know, railed down a million times or whatever, all of a sudden you do it at night and you're like, wow, it's totally different. And then sometimes you mix it up and go the other way. And just one more thing to, you know, keep your mind busy or whatever.
And it's not like hot lava in the daytime.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's the desert, right?
No.
Well, I've been seeing that you guys have been
Casey,
doing a bunch
I
of
wanted
fun
to
stuff.
tell you, man, I'm sorry about the passing of your father, man. Condolences to you and your family, and
appreciate that.
hope everything goes well. And I know that Georgie was talking about, you know, good memories. And I mean, obviously, if you know him, anybody that knows Georgie, man, is good people to my book. So.
Yeah, one of these days we'll all have to go out on a side-by-side ride together and just have a good time. It'll be fun when it gets a little cooler out.
Not 114.
I know, right? I still can't believe, like, I'm still astonished that I did a temperature check with the temperature gun on the pavement and even in the truck, and it was 140 something degrees. Like,
so take that. This is why.
And we're not even in the hottest part yet, man. Wait till next month.
Right. So let's speak to the racer in us a little bit. This is why I don't like pavement. Because it's 100 degrees out, 114, and it was 30 degrees hotter on the asphalt.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second. When we go hit the dirt, right, if you're setting something up for the dirt, you know what compound tires you need, right? Now all of a sudden you're playing that game of, do I go out on new ones? Do I go with a different compound? Do I heat cycle them once? Nope, don't practice on them. Like, this is why pavement is no bueno for us dirt heads.
Yeah, because
the tire game is so bad. It's so
much
bad.
easier in the dirt.
Right. We're just like, oh, we knocked the edge off a little bit. Turn it around. We got a new tire again, right?
Dude, yeah. And it did feel like I was getting more traction on my road bike when I was going
because they were melting.
But honestly, I felt because I went down the pavement, right, and they just laid down new pavement on one of the parts, and I was like, dude, I'm cooking, like I'm melting, like my body is melting, like from my toes to my forehead, I feel like I'm getting cooked.
Right.
And then I got on old pavement, and it was like 10 degrees cooler. Because it was great. It wasn't
that works.
It wasn't holding it in. Yeah, it is. It's insane.
Yeah, but just imagine you have a blowout, man. Then you got to hit the ground. How hot you are, and dude, I'd be like, nope, not for me.
No thanks.
Well, do you guys have anything planned coming up?
No, I'm thinking about doing an all-nighter to Bowie. That's going to be mid-August. I'm trying to see if I can make that happen. If not, we're doing. We did the first one last year called. Yeah. And then we're doing, it's called Early Bird Gets the Worm on October 1st. We go up, leave at 2:00 in the morning, hit up Gordon's Well. We had about like 6 or 8 people last year. We had the dunes to ourselves, Gordon's and Glamis.
Awesome.
Hit up the swing set. This year, a whole bunch of people were like, we're not missing it this time. A couple people actually rode back the same day, which that was the original plan. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm so tired, man. I've been up since 2:00 in the morning. It's warm. I'm just going to kick it. We rode in the morning, came home. It was a good show and it was fun. And then after that, it's Camp Razor.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. So you can actually just stay in the toy hauler for the afternoon and then not have to boil. You can just go riding in the morning.
No, we didn't want to do that. So that was the best part. It was like a big adventure, man. So all of us guys in the toy haulers were so used to that comfort. And I'm like, no, this time we're going to go and just flatbed it out there. We had one guy had a big enclosed trailer, and I had him park a certain way where we had shade all day if we needed it.
Oh, that's
and the best part about not having a toy hauler is it was like, well, shit, it's hot. Let's just keep riding. Let's just keep going. And before I know it, I opened my first beer at like 7:30 at night, and I'm dying, dude. I'm so tired. I'm like, everybody's beat. And we all went to sleep like real early, man. It was weird.
It tasted so good at the end of the day.
It just put me out, man. It was like cough suppressant. That's what it felt like. It just knocked me out.
Night juice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was perfect, man. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what we got going on. And then, dune season starts, man. I'm ready. Ugg time.
Break out the Uggs. For those,
that's why you can't do Crocs.
Wait, what?
You can't do Crocs in the sand. Think about it.
I think you can.
No
I think
way.
people run Crocs.
You can actually. I've seen it. I've seen it.
You know how people were like Donnie always runs flip flops.
This
in
is
the
true.
Sand dunes.
I can't handle sand from the beach in my shoes.
Yeah, but beach sand is sticky.
But that's
isn't
just
it?
me.
Compared to
but
sand.
if you're sweating in the sand in the dunes,
plus it burns.
I can't do it.
So people.
I'm a flip flop guy in the sand during the day.
Yeah.
If it's hot enough, I'm wearing flip flops, and I usually leave them in the car and I walk around barefoot. But at nighttime when it's freezing out.
Yeah, then you can put on the Uggs.
I got to put on them monsters, dude.
Dude, I think you should see if you can get a sponsorship from Uggs, man. You rep them so hard.
Dude, that'll be freaking awesome. Call them the Funzy Slippers.
So to backtrack a little bit, we were talking about this place called Bowie. It's in southern Arizona. It's called Bowie Hot Wells. And a long time ago, it was just like basically just a little hot well pipe that just came out of the ground. Mm-hmm. And so it's natural hot springs, and now they've turned it into like a little bit more touristy kind of thing. But they have like I want to say it's like a miniature sand dunes kind of thing, like an off-road area. Mm-hmm. It's really
they're more like trails, sand trails.
It's really
one little race hill, probably the size of going to the drags at Gordon's Well. From that hill going up, it's that size of the race hill.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you've ever been to Ocotillo Wells, it's really similar. It's almost like a sister to Ocotillo Wells. So it's pretty cool. It's a nice little place down here in southern Arizona, a little hidden gem. So don't go there if Cody's there, though, because then you're going to be raining on his parade. But yeah, so I think that's going to be pretty cool, man. It's really neat that you guys still are trying to plan all these events and do all this stuff with everybody sitting at home. I don't know if you heard before, but Can-Am is launching a pilot program called Uncharted Society, and they're going to be doing all kinds of demos and rides and stuff like that across the country, and jet skis and side-by-sides and ATVs.
Yeah, dude, we got to get a hold of them, man. That'd be cool. Get contact with them and take them around. And I just got my boat back, George, so that you know what that means, right?
Lake time.
Lake time. That's been even crazy, man. I'm on them forums, and like the lakes are closed by like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wait, so how do you go to the lake now?
I think some of these places were.
I've only been once this season, man, because it's been so crowded. For some reason, everybody got their free $1,200, and then we can get their boats fixed.
Yeah, right. So some buddies rented I guess it's the marina, in Apache, maybe
Apache Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so you put up enough money.
Rent a marina?
You put up enough money, and they'll allow you to come do, whatever, because it's distancing and people and Rona.
So you can rent a whole marina?
I think they rented.
So what does that mean?
You're talking. I think you mean the slots.
Maybe that's what it is.
You could rent like each of those slots, and you could park your boat there or whatever. And
that's exactly.
Or you can rent like a whole row.
That's exactly what it is, because you got to keep the distance, obviously, right? So if you're coming as a party, or that was the idea. But I'm not sure. Maybe it didn't play out.
So if you rent a whole row, that means you can all party as hard as you want in that row?
Maybe so.
Yeah, I mean, and they have electric hookups. Like, it's insane, man. They just had that huge electrical. Somebody got 2 people, I think, died at Pleasant this last weekend, unfortunately. In I think it's Scorpion Bay, because of some electrical hit the water or something. It was crazy.
Oh no,
that's
terrible.
Good. Well, yeah, Brian Hawkins said that Parker has been a freaking zoo lately. I've seen it too, like all the videos on Instagram and stuff. Parker has been like going crazy. I think everybody like that's why I think Can-Am's idea is so awesome is because everybody's doing stuff. They're like, oh, I don't want to sit at home anymore.
Right.
Yeah. At least they're putting in the effort and trying to keep it positive and keep it alive. And that's important right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what so I know that you have like events that you want to start and stuff like that, but what has everybody's consensus been with your 520 side by side group page? Has everybody been talking about still doing little rides and stuff? Is the community still strong?
Yeah, night rides have come up. We still do that thing that I created a long time ago called Uphill and Chill. And we meet at one of the local like big dirt mounds, dirt piles, and you get a whole bunch of people there and just meet new people. And lately I've been seeing a lot of new people, man, that I've never met before that are new to the page from all over. They drive over here and it's cool, man. It's really nice to keep seeing it still grow after the situation is being so rough for everybody.
I can see those things being super successful too, because it's not like a huge trip. It's just like go out for the night and get out of the house or whatever. I've been seeing that too.
And even when I first started it, people were like, well, that's kind of lame. You just kind of, it's like not even 30, 40 seconds off the main road. And, a lot of people were like, oh, we're not going to ride. I'm like, no, man, we're just here to meet people and have a good time. And it just started growing. And then before you know it, we're getting like 35 cars on top of this hill. And it's like, whoops.
It's smart because my guess is you probably get, like you said, you get a bunch of new enthusiasts. And like any of us, when we're new at something, we don't want to do it wrong. So these guys are probably, and gals are probably just pumped to hear the people that know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff, just to hear the
and we're
banter.
still doing something.
Right, yeah,
That's
exactly.
another thing. It gets them out of the house.
Right.
And I wouldn't say, I always tell people, especially during this time, if you feel uncomfortable going, please don't go.
Right.
I don't want any problems later, and I don't want to be liable for anything. And I make it pretty clear that if you're going to go and you want to be there, but you're kind of still nervous, bring your mask. We are under this order, whatever.
Right.
Do what you feel right. That's all I could say. But if you want to keep having funsies, let's keep doing it. That's how I roll.
That's super cool because then you give them the opportunity to do what they want, and then everybody can protect themselves any way that they want. One thing that's cool about that I was just realizing that like this could be a success, especially in Arizona, because you can ride on the street on your UTV. So you can take the UTV to wherever the uphill and chill is at.
Right, totally.
So
they are actually getting their vehicle out. So that's cool.
Exactly.
Love it.
And so you don't have to go on like an off-road trip, like Cody said. So if it's a newbie, you don't have to be like, oh, shoot, like I'm going to go with these guys that are experienced on this crazy off-road. You're just like, no, I'll just drive down the street.
Yeah, they get to get their feet wet.
And they get to go and meet these certain people. And they meet people and they're like, oh, you're this person that did this ride last. Hey, we want to join in on the next one. Good to meet you. And I see a lot of that. And it's kind of like, okay, this is really cool. A lot of people are meeting each other, and times are hard, man. Not everybody wants to go out even right now. Plus it's 112 degrees sometimes. And so just to get comfortable with get to know people is the most important thing, and share memories and stories and places they've been. And man, we've been having a lot of families come up with their kids, and they slide down the hill, and it's to be something really, really cool. So
it's kind of just like taking a run.
Everything is in the heat.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that's kind of like we've kind of talked. You want to go to the hills tonight, and it makes it fun.
Dude, you guys are living the dirt life hard. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So with all the stuff that's been going on, I thought I saw that you guys had one of these uphill and chills, like I don't know, maybe it was a couple months ago or something. But there was like 30, 50, 60 people or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a little bit bigger than I expected, and at first I kind of got worried about it because, like I said, I don't want to be liable for anything, and I try to make it very well known. Hey guys, what's going on right now in Arizona. Understand that I don't want to be liable if anything happens, or just saying if somebody gets sick or something. Who knows? Whatever, And anybody getting sick, so obviously we're all good. But yeah, I mean it got really big.
That's cool. And at least if they practice,
we never get bugged by cops or anything, and it's been really good.
And if they're practicing the way that they want to keep safe and stuff like that. We had a comment come in from Rory that says, are these guys on Facebook? Yeah, so it's a side-by-side group on Facebook, Rory. It's called 520 Side-by-Side, but it's 5-2-0 space S by, Well, do you have it SXS or do you have it side by side spelled
No,
out?
it's just SXS.
Okay, yeah. So 5
Yeah.
hyphen 2 hyphen 0 space SXS.
Yeah.
So yeah, reach out
And
to
it's
them.
everybody. I mean, it grew. It was supposed to be a Tucson thing, and I started going to the Phoenix show and glows and meeting a lot of people. And then I'd go to the dunes, and I was meeting people, and they would tell their friend about it, and we all seem to meet in Glamis or anywhere in the sand, And I run into a lot of people from Nevada, California, Oregon. I've met people from Florida, man. It's crazy.
Dang, Florida?
And they just and they just really, really enjoy the activity. We've become such a family-oriented community, and that's the way it needs to be, helping each other out, selling things a lot cheaper with each other than trying to get all your money back to help each other out, and that's kind of what I tried to make it. So it's been pretty successful.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. See all the effort that you put in, man. That's crazy. But it's neat to see all your great efforts lead to great rewards. My mom once told me that.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right,
well,
man.
your mom's a good lady, that's for sure.
I appreciate it, dude. So, how's the family doing? You got the puppies still staying inside, keeping cool?
Oh yeah, come on, man. They're babies, dude. I'm surprised that they're still not feeding them milk, man. They get treated like little infants, and they never grow. It seems like, but no, it's all good. Carly, she never went back to work. She works for the Big Banner Hospital here, and she's pretty much at home now working, and it's been really good. Sometimes she gets a little, crazy with it because she's not really leaving much. But man, we've saved so much money of not having to drive to work all the time. I'm back, but it's only a couple miles away, but it's just different. You realize how much more money you actually save not doing much.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? So
yeah,
it's neat to see that people are still getting out and doing stuff, though, and that's awesome that Carly's still able to get out and do stuff too. Kind of sucks that she can't go to work because I know she was really, enjoying her job and busy as all heck.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Brian Hawkins was just commenting and saying that we're blessed to live in the Southwest, best off-roading anywhere. Yeah, I agree, man. We were just talking about Zach Osborne.
Pretty much out of your backyard. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and you can really literally drive out of your backyard or your garage and go wherever. Yeah, we were just talking about Zach Osborne switching gears from racing supercross and motocross, and he did a GNCC, which is like a woods racing, basically, like, through trees and enduro kind of stuff. And I really agree with Brian's comment because I have way more fun out here in the mountains and on the trails than I think I would being claustrophobic in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I've never been really interested in that stuff, man. I like to go camping. I like the Cinders, Flagstaff area. It's really, really beautiful. But I don't think the whole trail riding, I've seen a lot of people that are racing through there, man. You hit one of them stumps and it's over, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Can you read what Josh from TacMed said, Casey?
Yeah, he said Havasu had an amazing side-by-side turnout. It was called Light Up Havasu Blue in support of law enforcement over the weekend. It was awesome to see everyone.
I heard about that. Huge success, man. So who's ever running that page and whoever planned that, man, congratulations. It was awesome.
He said, everyone out in the heat, he said 520 should do the same. That was his
he's saying that you guys should do the same thing.
That's pretty cool.
Well, we were going to do it. I don't know if you remember, before the shutdown, I had it all set up. We were going to go, back the blue or whatever here in town. And then I got a hold of, Brandon Eccles, East Tucson Police Department, Sean Towles, Tucson Police Department. And then all the looting and stuff started really happening. And they felt uncomfortable putting us in a bad situation if it were to come down to that. And that was another one of the events. We're still going to do it, but it's going to be after everything's pretty much cleared up, to just kind of, show our respect to them and say thank you for what they're doing, because these people, from what I understand, these police officers all over, are working 15, 24-hour shifts at a time. And it's a lot. It's a lot for these people.
But you definitely want to let the dust settle a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. Makes
Dude,
sense.
that's super cool though. Hopefully that you can make that happen. Well, let us know if you do.
It was 2 days before it happened. That was another one of the events, and they called me and they're like, "Man, it's not a good idea. We don't want to put you guys in a bad situation, and then we don't want to cause a scene where we're at, because we don't want to bring people to us." And I totally understood it, and we're still going to redo it. I don't know, maybe I'll put it in with one of our next events or something, have them show up. But we were going to have a huge barbecue for them and kind of show that people and the off-road community can help by, bringing their families out, showing these kids, of all ages, that police officers are good people.
Dude,
and they're there to be there to help us in any way they possibly can, and would give their life for us. And the media, again, nowadays, every child has a cell phone, so they have all the access to everything they have in the palm of their hand. So they're seeing a lot of bad. And that was one of the things I kept thinking of, like, if you bring your kids out here, this is a good way for them to be like, oh man, these people are great people. Yeah. They go to school whenever that happens and say, no, police officers are good people. It's just, that's what I kept thinking and seeing what would happen. And hopefully we're still going to get it done. So
kind of like that show and glow that you did for the Diamond Children's Hospital. There was hundreds of UTVs
that was
there.
Cool. Super cool.
Everybody had their lighted whips and stuff, and all the kids got to come out.
Yeah, the Christmas event. We're that's starting actually in the making. We're just kind of, it's probably not going to be the same way it normally is every year, because we have it every year like that. I think we're going to do it a little bit different this year, to where there's not going to be problems. We're not going to have any issues with anybody of hanging out and that many people together. I think we're going to do more of a ride through town, show up at the hospital like you did with us, kind of drop either a gift off or something, and then we'll meet at the top for a little bit, but we'll make sure we're pretty spaced out this time.
Yeah, that'd be super cool, man. All those events are so rad, man. You got to give yourself a pat on the back, because all the events that you've done, like, just think about how much it's changed the side-by-side or the off-road community in a small town or small state like Arizona, man. You're doing a good job.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Well, I hope you guys have all done have a good night tonight. And then that new Bronco's pretty cool. I'm sure, people are going back and forth on it, but.
Well, Jeep's releasing their V8 too, so I'm sure they were like, "Oh crap, Ford's coming out with something. We better release something." So
I think it's pretty cool. It's going to bring a lot of those Ford heads out of the woodwork.
Yeah, you think?
Hey, I'm a Ford guy.
No, I'm with
two
you.
Of them.
I'm with you.
I'm
That's
a Ford
what I'm
guy.
saying. But imagine that. Okay, so this whole time you're like, it'd be cool to have a whatever, and I don't really want a Jeep. And now it's like, I've got something I can actually go get off the shelf. Just about.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, none of us off-roaders do that, but what did
he say? I read something. It's like 7 gears, and it has like some other gear on it. I was kind of scrolling a little bit ago, and I'm like, what?
Like a crawling gear or like an overdrive?
Yeah, like it's this intense low gear that
nice.
I don't know. I know Toyota came out with that one that you can get stuck in sand and it kind of like shakes itself out or whatever.
Oh, yeah, right. Interesting.
It'll be pretty cool.
It's cool.
Definitely. So much computer stuff though, and this thing's probably
that's what I mean. That's where it's getting to. That's another problem right now. I don't know.
Dude, there's so many cool ones. Craig Scanlon of Four Wheel Parts just did his old Bronco. That thing is sweet, man. And it's getting a bunch of love, obviously, because of the new release.
They're so cool. But hey, imagine this just for a second before we go. So you know how long it takes to put a vehicle together and a release and all this stuff. This is years in the making.
Right.
Imagine if you're the marketing team or whatever, and all of a sudden Rona rolls out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Holy
dude, I know, man. That really put a hurting on you. But again, Rona came out. Like I said, we're saving all this money, not going anywhere.
Right. It could be even better.
At the end, it might be, here's half the pay, here's half the down.
Yep. Oh, all the models are sold out till 2025.
Yeah. If all of the off-road motorsports dealers, power sports dealerships can't keep anything on the floor, I wonder if this is like the best release that's ever going to happen for an automobile.
It might.
I don't know. I heard about that stuff too, and it just goes to show you, man. People. They're sitting at home and they're like, we're not like this. This is not normal. We got to go out and do something. We got to go spend a whole bunch of money.
I got an extra $1,200 for my $65,000 vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling in, bud. Yeah, and Brian Hawkins said that.
Yeah, guys, have a good night. I'll keep watching.
Sweet,
thanks, Cody.
Thanks,
have
man.
A good one.
We'll see you later.
See you guys.
That was rad that he called in, man. It's cool to catch up because he really does have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And it's you got to remember, so most people have their family at home that they take care of and they're busy, right?
Right.
Well, now he has this Facebook group and that's his family, his extended family.
Right.
And it's huge. It's I don't know how many people he's got now, 3,500 people or something.
Yeah, that takes a lot of effort and work
coordinate
to keep
all that
going.
stuff. Yeah,
totally.
So good on him though for doing all that stuff. All right, so let's talk about this because I don't know what I'm thinking just yet, because we were talking about it. I was actually talking to Brian Hawkins a little bit earlier today about the Bronco release, because he had mentioned that it was coming on today. So most people are probably watching that right now. But so the Ford Bronco is coming out, and Jeep's answer to competing with them was, oh, we're going to have a V8 stuck in our Jeeps now.
Right.
What do you think about either of those?
I think it's maybe a well, okay,
Like a counterattack?
It is a counterattack, but let's go. Okay, so you have those Ford people, right? They're Ford people. It doesn't matter. So throwing a V8 in something that the diehards have already been doing anyways.
They don't give the LS swaps or something.
Okay, it's cool or whatever. It's tons of money now. I can get it off the shelf. It's really only going to appeal to like a very small percentage.
Yep.
But like unveiling the iconic Bronco from 60s or whatever is now got those people that, I mean, I think it's rad. My uncle had one when I was pretty small, but how many times have you seen one of those awesome, redone? Look at Mikey's. How about Mikey? Twin turbo crazy Mikey.
Yep.
And if he doesn't get one, I'm going to be surprised.
You think he's going to get a new Bronco?
I don't know, man. I think he'll figure it out
We
somehow.
got a buddy, Mike Whining. He does raps and real estate and stuff like that, but he's had a pretty cool one that he's been working on. It'll be
right
funny if he
alley.
gets one. Wonder if he's going to be like, his wife's name's Katie. Wonder if he's going to say, Katie, we got to get rid of the Jeep.
The only problem is that if it's painted, you can't have it.
Why? Because it'll get too scratched, you mean?
Yeah, because
he's going to wrap it?
His awesome one was never painted. It was like 4 different colors.
Oh, really?
But it was so awesome. I love that thing. It was so fast. Holy crap. Anyways, I could totally see that type of person that's like, I'm a Ford guy. I don't care that you're throwing a whatever in there. Like, welcome to the club. You're 10 years later or whatever. That's my take on it. But that doesn't mean much.
We'll have to see over the next 6 months how things shape up.
If you have the dough, I'm buying a Bronco. Oh, yeah.
You're going Bronco?
That's so sweet.
That's actually pretty good for you to say, though, because you have a Jeep as well for a daily driver that's lifted and stuff.
I do, but I wouldn't call myself a Jeep, quote-unquote, Jeep guy.
Well, it's a Cherokee.
It's a Cherokee, whatever. It's an impersonator, grocery getter, right? But
yeah, but it's still cool.
But that thing is iconic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
I think
my
so,
take.
too.
That's
I wonder, and the demographics, too. You're going to definitely get a lot of the older guys that are like, I'm getting it.
Yep.
All right. Well, so we got Alan Ampudia coming up. We are going to, I can't wait to talk to him. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And
Baja 1000.
Dude,
can't wait.
I want to see how it feels to win a Baja 1000. That'd be so cool. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I'm trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like let's say a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there, or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, it's just like welding.
Yeah. Also, as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel. And then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we are back. We got our featured guest for the night. He grew up with off-road racing in his blood, man. He's got siblings that race off-road. He started his dirt life at a young age. He's doing go-karts and dirt bikes, and now he moved up to racing short course and trophy trucks, man, is the last thing that he's been doing. He's a Baja 1000 overall champion. He's a two-time world champion, and he's got 8 Baja wins under his belt, and maybe more now, but and he's always a threat to be on the podium at any race that he attends. His latest project is Amped with Little John and Toyo Tires. That's got over 1 million views on YouTube. It's awesome video. We'd like to welcome Alan Ampudia to the show.
It is pretty
cool. What's up, man?
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we talked a little bit on a commercial break, man. I thought you were going to be down in Ensenada, but you're in the States, man, living that California COVID life, right?
Yeah, stuck at home, racing the simulator, trying to stay busy.
What kind of simulator racing have you been doing? Because we've been hearing all kinds of that iRacing stuff.
Yeah, I've just been doing a little bit of short course, but lately I've been doing these like Mexican road races, so it's pretty fun.
Do you got a lot of competition there? Is it like pretty badass drivers?
Oh yeah, there's like a bunch of Mexico NASCAR guys and people that used to race like Formula 3 and all that stuff. So it's more a road racing oriented series. So it's just me and my brother Rodrigo. We have teammates that are like pros in street racing. So you like switch off and do like 2 races every couple of weeks. So it's pretty cool.
It's kind of like keep the juices flowing.
Yeah, just kind of keep it interesting. The short course one's a little harder to like be there, and it's a little more messier because you're banging doors and stuff in simulator. People don't really care and just go for it.
Yeah.
But in real racing, they're more respectful in a way, not bumping each other like we are used to. So
because they don't want to crash their stuff.
Yeah.
So that part's a little different, but this is awesome that we have an iRace guy that's a real off-road guy.
A real champion.
I've always wanted. I want the question. I want to have the question to the right guy, which this is the right guy. So how does that compare? I mean, obviously it's not the same
Um,
to real off-road racing.
I think the thing that doesn't compare. Well, obviously you're sitting in your living room
Right.
playing racing, right? But mainly in the off-road one, it's basically the traction because it's a lot harder to like in the street races that you do. It's very very accurate, and maybe like the dirt oval stuff, it's very very similar to the real thing, like driving wise. But the Pro Fours are not quite there yet because they're I think the newest vehicles out there. But it's still really fun to rip around once you get the hang of it of how to drive it faster in the simulator. You can have a lot of fun.
So
That's awesome.
I tried it at Wild Horse Pass in a Pro 4 on the simulator, and it was peeling out all over the freaking place.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically all of us when we first go in and think that we can just Kyle Duke it into a turn, but it doesn't work like that. Simulator.
Nice.
It doesn't work like that. Is
That's
that what,
cool.
And well, we want to ask a couple questions. But we just had a comment come in that said, "Hey, Alan, how many takes did it take to eat those grapes?" He starts laughing.
Actually, I think that's the scene that took the longest because I don't have any experience with like acting or talking in front of the camera necessarily, but the grapes is kind of hard to just. They wanted me to get a good bite into them, and it was very hard because it was like at an angle, so my neck was all crooked and stuff. But it definitely took like 10 tries to get the right one.
That's awesome, though. We could talk about the video a little bit more in depth when we get into it. Let's keep it or take it back to the beginning, though. So we mentioned in the intro that you grew up in a long bloodline of racers. Can you kind of like give us like your first experiences with off-road and motorsports and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since I was in my mom's womb, I've been in racing. My dad started racing in the late 80s. So basically, since I was born, before I could even drive, my dad put me in his lap and we'd like wheel the car around contingency and all that stuff. So I've been around racing my whole life. And at a younger age, we basically started racing dirt bikes. I don't know. My dad just was successful in businesses, so we were able to have a bunch of toys down there, and we'd go to our local tracks. And I mean, they were nothing like the ones in the States, but you got the basics of it, and start racing with Ivan Ramirez. I don't know if you guys remember him. He was like with Kirk Caselli and all those guys. So I was racing with those kids growing up, and it was a lot of fun. And then I got injured practicing for a race at Verona Oaks and just opened my eyebrow, 19 stitches, and my parents freaked out, like if it was the worst thing that could happen. And they were like, nah, we're going to pull you guys out of that and put you in a cage where you're a lot safer. So at that moment, Rodrigo had already started kind of racing the 1600s in the desert down in Score. And little by little, we got integrated into that. And then Rodrigo started doing short course. And then that's how I started doing pro lights and short course. Well, first it was the trophy carts, back in the day with like 2 horsepower against all these little kids that weighed like 60 pounds. And I was already like 13. So I'm like going down the straightaways, getting just passed by these little kids. But it was still fun, And then we grew out of those. And luckily enough, we started racing short course for a little bit in the core days, and then that series went down to the gutter. So unfortunately, and then we started racing in the desert. So that was a lot of fun, and I've been lucky enough to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and yet to have all that. So 2 questions, but the first one is, how many siblings do you have?
So it's 3 of us. It's Rodrigo is the oldest one, I'm the middle one, and Aaron's the youngest one.
Okay, cool. And then so obviously, so you guys had to, basically racing buddies to like get, Rodrigo's faster than us on his 80 and I'm on a 60, like we got to catch up or whatever, like all that competitive.
Yeah, he never really raced to the level that me and Aaron did. It was more like, he had the dirt bikes, but like he would just go rip around in the tracks down in Ensenada, but never, like my dad really took it up a notch with us. We'd travel to Verona, Paris, Star West, and we would actually get like, into like real races, and we're trying to like do better and all that, because our dads at the end of the day, we're so young, we're like, oh, just go and do it. And I mean, we listen, so he was more like into the racing, the 4-wheel side. So Rodrigo started racing at like 15 or something like that, 1600 cars. And yeah, he basically taught us how to drive those cars. So
That's pretty
it's
cool,
pretty
though.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we were scared out of our minds when we would get in a car with Rodrigo. And
I'll
we'd be
bet.
going down San Felipe. And I mean, my dad had to buy him a single seater because nobody wanted to be his co-driver because he was so I mean, 1600 car, that's how you drive him. You drive him to the very limit and they won't break unless you blow an engine or something like that. But they can take all the punishment and the rough stuff, and it's not very pleasant on the body. But, you know, when we first rode with him, he's like, no, just forward gear, pin, and just you couldn't see anything. We're like, you know, you're just hanging on the passenger seat for dear life. And he's just like, we're like, how do you see? So then we hop, you know, in the driver's seat, and he'd be like, no, faster. I'm like, dude, I can't see. Like, I can only see green and brown, and I'm trying to follow the brown, but you're just getting bounced around in the cab. But, you know, it was very fun, and we learned to, you know, be better drivers and lead terrain and all that stuff. So it definitely has helped out over the years.
Dude, I wonder, well, before I ask our next questions, so you were talking about racing like at Barona Oaks and Paris and stuff. Like both Casey and I raced, we were a little generation or two ahead of you because we're a little older. But one of the guys that we used to race with, and Casey might know another guy, but did you ever remember a guy named Eric Vallejo?
Maybe.
So he was like the I don't know. He was super fast, but he was one of the guys from Mexico that we would always battle with. And then wasn't there another guy though that was from down there though? Because we live in southern Arizona, and so sometimes they would pay some of the pros from Arizona to come down and race against, you know, down at the local tracks down there.
Yeah, I mean, basically the faster ones in my kind of generation, even though Ivan Ramirez is a little younger than me, he was one of my best buddies from before, like, elementary school. So he was basically the guy to beat because he had already like 50 KTMs all tuned up and stuff. And I was riding like my dad's like 1970 65 with like 3 gears.
Yep.
And just like creeping around. And this kid's like jumping and like would drive circles around us. So, you know, it was just getting into that. And then, you know, when I was racing, the faster guys, Americans, were the Alessis. That was like,
yep.
Holy crap, you know, they were a little older than me, but oh man, yeah, that was just like who we were like, oh my god, we want to be as fast as them, you know. So that's who I grew up racing against or around.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to see the different generation gaps, like because Casey was just a year or two ahead of me, and then so his was like McGrath and like who else was in your
Wyndham was
Wyndham was the guy, and then for me it was like Nick Way was like one of my main competitors, and then Ricky Carmichael. Like 1 year, I got
just a bunch of slow dudes. Yeah, you guys have nothing to worry about.
I know, right? But, so 1 year is like my claim to fame. I think I got second or third to Carmichael at like the Vegas World Mini or something. So that was like my highlight.
Hey, that's still pretty good, man. Better than most.
Yeah, so it was kind of neat though. But I like that generation gap though, because like it's kind of neat to see because. You know, we thought we were fast, right? But then the Lessies, you know, they're way faster. So his generation is like next level, like 10% faster than. Right. So like what he is learning when he first starts is faster than what we had to learn.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but also like for us growing up in Mexico, we didn't know anything about like the whole Loretta stuff or anything like that. You know, I just literally, I was playing soccer, doing swim, and riding my dirt bike after school every day. So I was like. My parents always kept us busy in sports, so I wanted to be a supercross rider. I always looked up to like Jeremy McGrath, Chad Reed, Travis Pastrana, all those guys, you know. So wanting to be like them and race like them and be as successful as we were, but we would just ride and just try to get faster and try to get the courage to clear the doubles, you know, after you go out of the tabletops. Yep. And it's like, oh man, I don't know. But, you know, if we would have, my dad never raced dirt bikes. He just had a passion for anything with an engine on it. So him was just also learning as we went and like, oh, we met Ivan Ramirez and his dad kind of already knew. And that's how we got into Verona Oaks. And then from there, you know, oh no, Star West and Paris and all this stuff. But when I crashed, I had just moved up to like 65 cc. So I was still very young. I still was, you know, getting faster. And that's when my parents were like, no more dirt bikes, or at least no more racing dirt bikes. So
I guess you didn't have like the grown-up experience at those tracks, but do you remember what was your favorite track? Dude, because Verona's pretty badass.
So awesome.
The Verona, the big track was cool.
Yeah.
Because I got to race like the piggy one on the side, but I had a really bad memory there. My first race there, I crashed and almost, it was bad. My dad told me like, "Oh, come around to the straightaway, just pin it," thinking I'd see the big tabletop. Never seen that jump that big. He goes, "Just pin it," thinking just telling me so I can get on top of the jump. Well, Alan apparently was very obedient and not scared, and I just pinned it the whole way, and I flew like two times the size of the jump, landed into flat. I've never caught air, so I'm sitting on the bike. I didn't even stand up, So, yeah, that was not a pleasant experience, but I definitely like the layout of the big track in Verona for sure.
Yeah, that track was cool, man.
Always.
Always was cool. I remember like being in the trees and stuff, being like, man, this is so much different than Arizona. So you must have felt the same, like coming from Mexico to like be like, whoa.
Yeah, and also the El Cajon Speedway, when there was an El Cajon Speedway, I got to do that. That's where I crashed and opened my eyebrow, but that layout was pretty cool.
I only got to ride there once, and it was on a mini bike, like on a 50 or something. But that track was cool at night.
Yeah, definitely at night made it different. And also like Star West and all those, never got to race at night under the lights, so that was pretty cool to experience as well.
Oh, we'll probably answer this, but we had a comment from Billy Slade that says, "What's next on your list of accomplishments? Do you have any goals coming up?"
Well, obviously, we just scratched off a big one off the list, which is winning an overall on the 1,000. But definitely just keep winning races, trying to win a championship. Obviously, the Baja 1000 being the mother of all the races, that's the one you want to win the most. But you obviously also want to win all the other ones. The San Felipe 250, the 500. They all have, as much history as the 1,000 has. Maybe not as prestigious, but I still want to check them all off, and hopefully we get to race best in the desert and see what we can do there as well. Never raced in the States other than King of the Hammers, but obviously we're all competitors. We want to go out and win every time and, grow the team, make us better as drivers and fasters, and hopefully, we can beat some records out there.
Well, I like that humble aspect of it. He's already a badass. He won the Baja 1000. But, hey, so has anybody ever, swept the best in the score series, like won all of them?
I don't think, and that's definitely one of the things on the list.
Dude, that would be gnarly.
Andy got the closest. What was it, last year?
Andy McMillan?
The year before that, we won the San Felipe and then won the Baja 500. I think that's the closest anyone has gotten. To be honest, I'm not sure. But that'll be a cool thing to be able to do and be the first one to do it, to just win all four all year. But it's a lot easier said than done. It's a lot of miles and a lot of things can go wrong. But we're definitely, every time we go out there, we try our hardest, and we obviously want to win every single time.
Yeah.
Does it take a little bit of, just a teeny tiny bit of pressure off because like you said, we all agree that's the mother, right, of all the off-road races. So it doesn't discount the other ones at all, but in your mind, does it go, well, if I can do that, I can take a little teeny bit less and say I can do those. I don't know. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Always like as racers, and you can tell that if you have it or you don't kind of have it. And I mean, even if you don't have it, you can just work a little harder for it.
Right.
But just being in the trophy truck class for not that long, it's just been like kind of like a learning curve, because it's completely different from anything that we've ever driven on, and we don't get to go test the truck 500 miles before the season starts. Like, I get in the truck 40 miles before each race, and that's all the testing I get from race to race. So I don't get a lot of seat time like these other guys can, but I mean, we still make it work. We pre-run like crazy. We try to be as prepared as we can as a driver, as a team. And, over the past 2 years of this learning curve, which is the trophy truck class, I think we've proven to everyone that we slowly got to the point where we are up there every time now in the top 5 podium fighting for it. So I think, like you said, winning the 1,000 definitely gives you more confidence and people are not like, okay, now we have to actually watch out for these boys, you know?
Right.
In the back of your mind, you're not really thinking about that when you're racing, but it's definitely in the back of your mind whether you like it or not, and obviously gives you confidence, and now you're like, okay, I can do this. I've done it. I did the craziest one. I mean, with all the rain and all that stuff and all the adversity we encountered in the race, and we were able to pull, through it and come out with a win. So definitely gives you a confidence boost. But every race is different.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys out there that can win and not gonna make it easy on us.
Right.
So we're just gonna have to pray that we come out on top and may the best one win,
Dude, you could probably agree with what I'm going to say right here is like, that's such a racer's mentality.
Oh, totally. That's what I've been thinking this whole time. Like, I love it. It's great.
It's pretty neat though. Like he's understating it because
totally.
First things first, like winning a Baja 1000,
I can't even
just
imagine.
the preparation for a Baja 1000 is like off the charts, right? Like, so be able to go out there and win one is phenomenal in my opinion. Like, so him and I talked a little bit in text message. His brother Rodrigo does short course still. He does the Pro 2 class, and that's insane cool already.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what do they call it? A ballet on two wheels.
Yeah.
And then so like. All the little stuff that I did, I was just a professional UTV driver. This is like so much higher level. I mean, like we're not even talking like double. We're talking like 10 times higher level, right? Because the speed, the mechanics of the vehicles, the driving capability,
all
of
the pieces that have to come
everything,
together,
handling all that power, two-wheel drive. Like, so he's understating it quite a bit. But like you said, like maybe it does give you like, okay, I got this one under my belt. Like,
well, he used the word that I was expecting, which was the confidence. So that's awesome. Like you said, it builds that confidence a little bit, and you can keep it back down here. It's just for you. You get to have it, but at least it does. It seems like it would take it just a teeny bit, right? You carry yourself a little different about it, is what I would think. I would.
Well, I mean, it definitely adds fuel to the fire for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
good.
You just want to go out there, give it your best, make your sponsors, family, team proud, and obviously I said, we're competitors. We want to believe in ourselves before anyone else can. You have to be able to believe yourself when things aren't going wrong, and 16 hours is a long time for a race, and you have to get straight. So it's a lot of stuff that can happen out there, and like the preparation too is a huge part of it as well, having the pits, everything on point. I mean, we only won by I think it was 10, 12 minutes. So that's not a lot of time. A pit gone wrong or something, anything, I mean, would have just, that was it. That's your race right there.
So we were talking about the other day.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
16 hours.
And then 12 minutes.
Separated.
And I think second and third was only like 10 seconds or something crazy. Well, first of all, I want to know more details about the truck stuff. But so another question. So some of these people sound like they're jumping ahead because they saw some of the posts that we did on social media. But so Brian Hawkins said, "How many hoods did you go through and amped?"
Actually, one. The one we started with is the one where at the very beginning where I nose dove pretty hard. A lot of people were, all those keyboard warriors out there, just saying oh, the setup on the truck is so terrible.
Oh my gosh,
dude, you're driving around wide open in the streets of Ensenada. You're gonna have a good setup. Come on,
you guys. If you guys are talking like you're setup experts or suspension experts, you should understand physics.
Right.
I'm going pinned in a street that is not a lip where it's gonna send my car flying beautifully through the air. This is street. It was my last shot. We're holding up traffic. I have to send it.
Make it happen.
That's what the video is for. Send it. Make you guys like it. People that aren't into off road or racing vehicles or anything like that, they can enjoy it as well and be interested in it. So had to send it. Pinned the whole time. I try to give it a little gas tap at the end to try to raise the nose, but at those speeds, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to send you flying how it's going to send you flying with the angle of the road and stuff. So it felt right for the first quarter of the jump, and the second, starting halfway, just started going, diving the nose. I'm like, woo, all right.
Well, you were going downhill kind of too, so it was kind of falling down too.
Yeah. So, it just kind of bent the the hood a little bit, but took it to the shop, and I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, we're back out the shop and went to the next stunt location and kept going. And
well, dude, that says a lot for the way that those things are built, like to take an impact like that.
So along those lines, Alan, you're going to laugh at this comment. It's great. So Brian Hawkins asked how many hoods, and now he says, is your setup bad, ? And he goes, the fact that you didn't break your neck is proof that your setup was good.
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Totally.
And I mean, yeah, we had guys there, helping us with the setup. Duncan from SDG, he came down and made sure that our setup was right, because I was going to do a couple of stunts that, not that I was like, oh my God, I'm worried, but I definitely want to make sure somebody's there to giving me that peace of mind that, hey, the car you're going to jump in is not going to do something funky. You're going to end up in somebody's house or something, Right. So we definitely took all the measures that we needed to take to make sure that the car was flying the right way, and, doing the stuff to do to keep me safe and everyone that was around me as well,
So since we're already on this topic, let's just keep going with the amp thing. So there was a couple things that I thought was cool. Like, first of all, you're an off-road racer, right? And then so you get the opportunity to do a stunt commercial or whatever you want to call this. But like, how was it, like, first of all, dealing with the setup and the production and all that, because it's a lot different. Like, I remember the first time I ever raced at the X Games and we were on live TV, it was less about the race and more about the schedule and what you got to do. So it's like, all of a sudden they're like, all right, get out there, go kick ass. And you're like, whoa, shit. Like, what am I supposed to do? So was it like that?
Oh yeah, you said it perfectly. I mean, in racing, you're like, okay, I'm going to start at 10:13, whether you're standing on the grid. You're standing in line. You're kind of like, talking to the other racers. Good luck, yada yada. Taking pictures with fans. You buckle up. You're like waiting your turn.
Right.
Okay, you're 3 cars behind. Okay, it's my turn. All right, concentrate. Say a little prayer. Let's freaking send it. No, over here you're like, all right, well, here's the damn schedule. We're gonna have to be here. Warm the car up. Wait for the crew to be ready. And you're just waiting for everyone else to be ready, and then when everyone else is ready, you need to be ready. And then in some of those stunts, I could only do them 1 or 2 times because of traffic, or even like if we fell behind because we had to go to the shop to fix the hood on that jump, we lost some time that wasn't, you want everything to go perfect, but it's never going to go perfect. Or most of the times it's not. You're going to, bend some fenders and whatnot. So you just have to adjust to that. And when it's go time, you have to perform. And I've never done anything of precision driving or anything like that. It's not. I didn't have a Hooney stick. It's a Pro 2. It's an actual Pro 2 race car. So you have 2 pedals, one for rear tires, one for all wheel.
Yeah.
And
cutting rake, nothing.
One of the calipers ripped off the rear end because it was pulling too much force. So we had to go to the shop, weld it all together, and then for the rest of the day, those stunts, I only had 2 brake, like the front brakes. So to get to truck to rotate with only front brakes is like impossible, but you just have to adjust and make the best out of a bad situation or a more challenging situation.
So what do you think about like the skill set?
So many things are going through my head that I would guarantee you moving forward that this is a huge, obviously an accomplishment, and maybe people think
and
that's what I'm saying is like
rise to the occasion.
It's like another level that maybe you don't realize, but I bet you're going to get to a situation because just like you said, in your element, it's sitting there waiting. You do contingency, you do your thing, you know exactly when you're going, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, just like you guys said, you had to make it happen. Like you're the guy. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. There's all this other stuff that has to be right. The truck has to be right. You worked on the setup, tire pressure, da-da-da-da. But
it ends there.
But that's what I'm saying. You're the one that had to make it happen, whether it, you can't perform, whatever the case is. So my point is that changed up, like, that's like a whole thought process changing.
Yeah,
and it's going to help
that
you.
Just came in said that he looked like he was doing
damn, bro,
it naturally.
you look natural. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll bet you back in your
Thank you.
in your element. Totally back in your element. I'll bet you this is something that carries you to the next whatever. That's my take.
Well, that's our hope, and also like one thing that a lot of people maybe like kind of just like it went over like the whole Little John thing. I thought wanted to do our life is nightclubs and bars, so we're always with music, and to be able to mix both of our like kind of elements with the music with Little John, and then because a bunch of his fans saw them, and people like in the music industry that might not be even interested in anything on the road. kind of crosses two industries that maybe wouldn't necessarily intertwine, but I thought it was pretty cool, and having him ride in the truck and get a feel what it's like to just sit there and hang for dear life. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's actually some of the questions I want to talk about. But for some of our listeners that might not know, your family has a company down in Mexico. It's called Papas and Beer, and you can go down there. I've ate down there. A few times when we were racing the short course down at the track there on Estero Beach. So first of all, it's awesome food. It's a good atmosphere. But when you get to do stuff like this video, right, and it's like kind of crossing all these crossover stuff, like you get to cross over into the music industry, and then you get to share the off-road racing with some of the business stuff that you do. Like, how does that feel? Because that's got to be like pretty awesome to be able to show all this new stuff to all these new people.
No, it definitely feels awesome. And, being as passionate as, myself or you guys included, being so passionate about off-road and how much, we basically live this is our life, like we've been raised through all this, and having other people that are not necessarily acquainted or familiar with our sport, like can be like, oh, that's pretty cool, like it's pretty cool to like be able to do it and have little John ride in it and be like, you guys do this for a whole day? I'm like, yeah, basically. Not through streets necessarily that much, but you're still riding, graded roads through little towns and cliffs and more dangerous stuff too. So It's pretty cool for them to see kind of what we do, because I see what they do all the time on stage. I might not be pressing the keys and putting the songs on, but we're there like watching them do their thing, and for them to, sit shotgun and go for a ride and see what we can do and what these trucks are capable of doing is pretty badass.
Well, so Casey and I have already, like, we've driven race cars and stuff like that, and off-road cars and stuff, but wouldn't it be fun to sit in the passenger seat, like, doing that? Like, because on a track, it's one thing, right?
Right, but in that, oh my gosh. So am I the only one that's seeing the parallel of you riding with your brother Rodrigo for the first time?
Oh,
right?
yeah, huh?
All scared. And then little John riding with you.
Funny because in the cliff jump towards the end, the little rise, just like right-hander drift around the mountain.
Yep.
Oh man, I was cracking up because poor John had never driven through this road, and that's the road basically I take from like our house to downtown or our offices or anywhere basically.
So you've driven it a million times.
Oh yeah, I've driven through that road, I don't know, 1,000,000 times at least. So I know exactly what it's going to do, but this poor guy is sitting shotgun in a 1,000 horsepower truck, and I'm about to power slide this truck through this blind hill that he doesn't know what's coming next. He doesn't know if it's a left turn, if it goes down, up. I know, so I'm chilling. And he's like, no, I don't do mountains. And I was like, oh man, I was still trying to concentrate myself and like try not to kill us both, but it was pretty cool to see his reaction. And then after that, he didn't care what we did. He was like, oh, after that, you can do whatever. I'm chilling now. So it's pretty cool.
Did you guys have radio communication then, so you could hear what he was saying?
Yeah. We had intercom, so I was trying not to laugh too much and make him feel bad, but it was pretty cool to see. Reaction.
I don't want to sound cliche here, but Little John is known for going like, yeah, like yelling and screaming, right? Like, I wonder if he got like a pucker moment in the car where
there was
something.
nothing,
yeah,
or nothing, yeah.
Well, I bet he had a couple ones where he was just silent for a couple of seconds. Yep. He was like, yeah, it was pretty fun.
Did they have people down there that were part of his crew that were like, dude, I can't believe you're doing this?
His bodyguard and then his manager basically were the ones down there with him. So it was just a small little group, but
were they
he's still telling them
too that he was doing all that?
Oh yeah, they were cool. I mean, he wasn't too happy at the cliff at the moment, but after he was like, I'm glad I did it.
That's like when you go bungee jumping and you're like, no, I'm not jumping. Yes, it was so fun.
Crazy.
Yeah, and we kind of didn't tell him. He thought he was just gonna go for a little ride. He didn't really know exactly what we were gonna do, awesome. But it was pretty cool that he got to ride with me and experience all that.
That is super cool, and I still really like the whole marketing crossover and stuff like that. And then
two worlds that you wouldn't expect to collide at all, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty
well,
cool.
and the statistics for the video obviously show that because they got a lot of views and stuff.
Sure.
How did that all come about though? Was Toyo Tires the one, or did you guys come up with the idea?
Well, me and my younger brother Aaron have been basically talking about wanting to do a video like that for like 10 years. Like, I kid you not, like, we've had meetings with the guys from Tent Media, like, I don't even know, like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, they wanted to do this video down there. But, you know, we didn't have the trophy truck back then. We only had like my dad's old Class 8 and, you know, a couple of UTVs. And then business wasn't doing that great and all that. So we didn't really have the money, and we weren't getting sponsored, you know, by all these bigger companies that we are now, because we were only racing 1600s back in the day. So,
so resources were a lot less.
Way less. So now that the business is doing better, and, you know, obviously when we pitched it, we brought it over to Toyo, and they jumped right on the idea, and they obviously helped us make this a possibility. And, you know, everyone else that helped us out, Vision, Baja, Design, all the guys, all our sponsors, and my family, also my mom, my dad, for letting me do all those stunts. Pretty cool for everyone to back us up, you know. And we knew it was going to be successful. You know, obviously you still have doubts when you're releasing, you've never done it. I don't have a Ken Block, BJ Baldwin, RJ Anderson type of following, but we know that if we throw enough good content and you do it the right way, the way that we go out about our business, we had confidence that it was going to be successful. So it's pretty cool to do it, and hopefully I get to do a lot more.
Coming from an off-road racer's perspective, or just a racer's perspective in general, like, first of all, I love all those other guys, and I like seeing their content and stuff. But when I saw him do this, I was like, man, that is so cool, because you're getting, like, breaking the mold, so to speak. You know what I mean? You're getting somebody who's not expected to do these things that's out there doing it. And so the first thing that I thought of was, like, first of all, how many times have you driven down the side of the road in your local town and been like, I could hit that jump.
Oh, totally.
I could connect these. Or like And then so he got to do it.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to do it. And then, you know, obviously people at the end of the day compare it to BJ Baldwin's video, but I'm like, hey, man, like, this is my town. I grew up here. Like, I still live there, but I lived actually there for 17, 18 years. So it's like, there's so many stunts out there that, you know, nobody else know about. And there's still a lot that I didn't get to do because of time and money and all that. But, you know, a lot of them, like that wash jump, a lot of people don't, you know, when you guys go improving for Baja, you drive through it, you're never like, oh, I want to drive across this and send it. But when you're a kid, you're driving through those and you don't have a car. You just have your dad's truck or your mom's SUV or whatever it is. And you're going through the wash, and literally you can ask anybody from Ensenada, and they'll be like, that's something I've wanted to do my whole life. Like, that's something to do. And yeah, your dad's Raptor F-150 is not going to go that far, but you still just gets the butterflies going. And, you know, that's one of the cooler ones I wanted to do for sure.
Did you get any of your buddies? They're like, finally, you hit it.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, that's sick, dude. How did it feel? I'm like, just how you imagined it.
Perfect.
We had a couple comments come in that says, whose idea was it to put Little John with you? Because that was a great idea.
Well, it was definitely, I think Aaron, my younger brother, is the one a lot that helped me make this, you know, possibility and the dream come true to, you know, be able to put out a video like this. And over the past, I think, like 3 years, we've been able to build a relationship with Little John. And I think we're lucky enough to call him a friend now, because we've had him play, I don't even know how many shows now. I think it's over like 20, 30 shows that he's played with us. And, you know, we just thought it would be a great fit. He knows us. We have that relationship. And at the end of the day, he's Little John. Like, maybe all the little kids nowadays that are 18, 19, you know, barely getting into the whole drinking, partying scene down in Mexico might not know who Little John is, but everyone that was in the 90s, or I mean, you still know the shot,
yeah,
all those songs. You know, it's Little John. So we thought it was a great idea, and then it was a perfect fit. And can't thank him enough and his team for coming down and helping us do this possibility and making it come true.
Yeah, I think that was a key part of the whole project, like having that crossover and integration with that stuff. Like,
and he did a great job because it
he really
was
did
100% real.
Yeah,
that's why it's got such a good draw.
Yeah, people thought
real.
like a couple of friends and stuff when I showed them the first version, they're like, "Was he actually in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, look at the footage. Like he's in the car, strapped up. We're going.
Yep.
Like all the voiceovers we used, we didn't have a recorder and just tell him to say some stuff. Like all the stuff that you hear him yelling in the truck is actually him saying that with a helmet on in the car."
Yeah,
so
you can tell.
It's pretty cool.
That's badass. Yeah, and Brian, again, he said he appreciates the video most of all because he gets to see your driving skills. So that's one of the things that I thought was super cool. So, like, we all have that want, and, like, you see it in your local town, like we just talked about, to go through. But what did it feel like to finally, like, you're in your hometown. So first of all, that's exciting, right? Like we were all excited to like race in our hometowns, right? Like we get pumped. You're in your hometown, but you're like in the streets of your hometown doing this. Like what did people think? And like, what did you feel like?
Obviously you have some people that are not very happy. They just don't like off-road. So they could care less, but a majority of people, cause you know, it's part of our culture down there. So, you know, a lot of people were excited, and, you know, anytime they hear an engine, even if it's not someone that races trophy trucks or anyone that, you know, is a household name, if you have a race car, they'll come out and like look what it is and like give you a thumbs up, you know. So it was pretty cool to do it in front of, you know, all my people, but it was definitely nerve-wracking. There was a couple of stunts that definitely got my adrenaline going. A lot of the times we're mostly worried about like not drifting too far and hitting a car or landing inside a house or something like that. You know, you want to keep it safe and not hurt yourself or other people's property. So that was the main thing. And, you know, luckily I think we only shattered one glass of a car that was standing too close to where I took off in one of the stunts. But, you know, we just paid them a brand new glass, so they were happy about it. You know, it was just a couple, you know, it's way different than anything, even just how the way you have to drive the car. A lot of people are like, well, there's no Kim block. I'm like, well, it's a two-wheel drive truck. Like, if I had a rally car, I could toss it into a turn and blow the tires off the damn thing every turn. But it doesn't work like that with, you know, you're trying to toss it and keep it not spinning out. So it's a lot harder to do in a two-wheel drive truck. And
well, it's completely different in an off-road truck than it is for a vehicle that's set up specifically for that, with a cutting brake, with four wheels, with the like all that stuff.
For asphalt.
Yeah.
And you just have to learn how to adapt to it and make it look still good, and, you know, make sure that you burn enough tire to get a little bit of smoke out there. And, you know, you just live and learn and try to adapt as you go. And that was basically it.
Did you have any, like, after you were done, were you like, man, I got some ideas for a next one?
Oh, yeah. We already have, you know, a couple of things that we could have done differently to make this one even better and more successful. But, you know, overall, we're all happy with the result and, you know, excited for what's to come.
Dude, yeah, I think it was pretty cool. I especially liked it. Like, one of the things that I was leading to when I was asking that question about how the people in Ensenada felt was instantly watching that video. I didn't even get 30 seconds into it, and I was like, damn it, I want to go back down there. Like, I got to go. Like, I want. So I was thinking, like, the tourism board, and like, if all this stupid COVID shit wasn't happening right now, people would probably be like going down there to check it out.
Yeah, they want to go see his drop off and his wash.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hopefully nobody. Hopefully,
you know, it's not just it wasn't just promoting us. You know, we also like to promote where we come from and you know, give back a little bit, even if it's not necessarily completely directly. But people now that might not know who or where Ensenada is, now they're like, oh, that spot looks kind of cool. Let's go, you know, down there and have some fish tacos or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good.
We actually have like a running theme on the show because, what was it called? The Baja Bro, is that the taco shop above the racetrack?
Sarah Beach.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite places to go eat, obviously. So like anybody that recommends tacos here, like it's always a competition to see if they can beat that place.
Yeah, I know, right? That's how I always am. All through high school and stuff, because I did high school here in San Diego, and all my friends are like, "Oh, you gotta try this! I ate the best Mexican food last night." And I'm like, "Oh,
whatever.
What do you eat?" A bean and cheese burrito. I'm like, dude, that is not Mexican. Like, a burrito is not Mexican. Like, we don't have burritos.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Or like, oh, I went and ate a Taco Bell. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but that is not Mexican food.
Taco Bell.
You have to come down with me. I'll show you what Mexican food is.
Hey, so because well, obviously Mexico food is different. When you mean even like like Baja food compared to like Mexico City food is different. But have you ever had? Because in Southern Arizona we have they're called Sonoran dogs, and they're like this. I don't know. It's like a pan dulce, like a sweet bread, and we got like the hot dogs, and they have bacon on them, and you can put whatever toppings and beans, and like, dude.
Oh no, I have not. That sounds
It's so good.
like trouble. But no, I have not tried
It's
those.
so good.
Dude, they're mind blowing, and sometimes you can get them done different ways, like with like grilled with like garlic salt and stuff on them. They're like mind blowing. They're so good.
You're getting me hungry, dude.
I know, right? So one of the things that I wanted to ask was more about the racing stuff. So like a lot of our audience, knows about the off-roading and stuff like that. But who we really want to do is like, we really like to get to the nitty gritty of all the people that we talk to. Like everybody, like, let's just say they see you at the track or in the pits or something, or at tech and contingency. And there's like, oh, Alan, I know him. I've seen him do these videos and stuff, but you've already given us a good understanding of who you are and where you grew up and stuff. But let's get back to the racing portion a little bit and see, like, what does it feel like? Because you talked about the 1600 car already, to get in a trophy truck and go as fast as you guys do through whoops, through corners and things like that. Because it's like, I don't think that people can actually understand that if they haven't done it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can picture it and imagine it a million different ways, but until you sit down, buckle up, and do it yourself, there's there's no way to explain it with just simple words. It's gnarly.
When you first got in it, were you just like, okay, I got to like drive it like the 1600 car? Or were you like, dude, I'm going pinned?
Well, no, I mean, obviously it was our car. I mean, we knew how much it went to, like, being able to purchase it and all that. So you don't want to go out there and just wreck it, because at the end of the day, it's expensive, very expensive. So, the first time I was just getting acquainted to it, kind of get a feel for it. But, we went out to San Felipe and definitely we were going like 90, 100 through the whoops. And it was just, trying to get it used to it. But it's gnarly. Like, people think it's like, oh, it's a trophy truck, dude. You can just, just put one hand on the steering wheel and just flatten it out and you'll be fine. Like, no way. Once you get over like 115 through whoops, it's the most scary moment of your life, but you're so in the zone that if you mess up, you're dead.
Yeah,
like, there's
that's what I was gonna say.
like, you're going so fast through these bumps that there's no traction. Like, you're literally floating. Like, I don't know, the tires might touch the ground for like what? Not even 0.2 of a second. So you're just literally floating through it, and you obviously trust your components, you trust yourself. You're a truck that is not going to do anything funky, but, might hit a rock, or, there's a little hole over here that you didn't go through where you pre-ran, or all that stuff. And you have to be on your game. There's no room for mistake. And especially in racing, fans, they just like being next to the action and being as close to these monsters as they can. So they basically, add definitely another fear factor to the whole danger of blasting through the woods that fast. But it's insane. I mean, there's no really a right way or wrong way to describe it. Just, it's kind of like you have to do it for yourself, kind of to be able to explain it to yourself and be like, oh, so this is what Alan was talking about when he went on the show about going through whoops at 115 plus. Like, this is what it feels like. Nowadays, testing and all that, when you go out test the shocks and all that, you kind of just know what to expect, and you're just, after you get through a speed run and all that, you're just like, whoo, all right, that was fun. And like, whoo, this is sick, like getting back in the saddle, getting used to all the adrenaline again. But it's something that never really gets old. I mean, at least not for me. I've only been racing, 2 years in this class, so still everything fairly new. I still learn new things every day, but it's definitely insane. Nothing I've ever experienced or done before. In a 1600 car, you're just like, yeah, you're getting tossed around like a sack of potatoes, but you're still, over the woods, you're realistically only going over maybe 60 for not more than the first 3 whoops, and then the car slows down, so you're just getting tossed at like 30.
Yeah.
But in these cars, you're going at speeds, and not just whoops. You're going through G outs and all this stuff so fast that you're just like, woo. Sometimes you're like, holy crap! Like we could have died on that one. Like if it would have played out any differently, you're just like, ooh, kind of rub I rubbed the hood a little bit, the dash, and I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. I'll try to be more careful. Keep taking care of me, though.
Be nice to her. Well,
nicer.
One of the things that that he's talking about, we've talked about it before, Case, is like, so we grew up racing dirt bikes and, Supercross and all that stuff. And so the perception of speed and angles and corners and things like that, you have to be really quick with your eyes, and you got to be quick with everything, that your movements and stuff like that.
Right.
So when I first got into UTV short course racing, I felt like I could eat a turkey sandwich before I got to the next corner because it was so slow. It was like backwards, right?
Right.
I think his is probably a little different because he went from going slower, and now he's getting into something that's heavier, and it's like, like he said, a rocket ship.
Like
You're basically hovering over the dirt.
Right.
Like, so what does it do, like, in your mind? Like, what do you have to do to prepare and to focus when you're channeled in, like, that hard?
I think for me personally, I get easily distracted, and I've caught myself like not paying attention to what I was doing, just thinking about random stuff like, "Oh, that taco was so bomb yesterday." Like,
meanwhile,
and I mean, when I'm going through whoops and stuff, and when you're just like kind of fall, because it's really easy down there to fall into just like a weird space where you're just
like
kind of going through the, and you just kind of get lost into it. So for me, it's really big that my co-driver, it's always on top of it. And it's like, okay, after a couple hours or so, he's like, hey, stay in the moment. Just listen to my voice. Take it one corner at a time. And then you just kind of like burn it into your brain. And then, obviously when the pressure's on and you're battling for the lead and all that, you have to be on it all the time. So I don't really space out much. But when you kind of get lost in the trance a little bit, or after a big speed zone where you're just like literally waiting for it to end because you're going 37 for like 20 minutes. But it's just basically staying in the moment and just trying to keep the truck straight, and just being able to. For me, it's a lot easier because I've raced Baja down there, those terrains. So we usually me and my younger brother Aaron divide the race on what we've like. I'm really going to the coast because I've run it like 6 years now. So that's like my section. So whenever the coast is on, because I already know it, I can literally call you rocks for 30 miles and like dangerous and all that. And when I take friends pre-running with me, they're like, nah, dude, how do you know where you're going? Like, how do you know that rock was there? I'm like, you want me to prove you that I freaking ran this road like 700 times?
Yeah.
And then I, like, for 5 miles, I call them, oh, look, there's a cactus in the shape of a horse. And here there's a big rock on the left that's purple.
He's like
and
a tour guy going free running.
Yeah.
And they're like, how the hell? And I'm like, well, once you do it long enough, it doesn't change that much. Obviously after rain, there's going to be ruts that weren't there. Or, I don't know, somebody bought off a land, there's going to be a fence where there wasn't a fence. Or, little stuff like that. But you kind of know already where you're going, the roads and all that. So it's a lot easier to do. And just with time, you get better at learning how to kind of like read the terrain, and what your truck's going to do. So you're like, okay. And also the co-drivers play a huge role. Like, if it wasn't for them, probably maybe one of us would finish up any race, because we'd just be going so fast trying to beat each other that, your co-drivers are the ones that see stuff before you can. So when you're going faster, they call out this stuff earlier, and you kind of have a signal system to like, okay, hey, this is where we need to slow down. Like, there's danger in this one. Or some of them where it's not, you can kind of just blow through and maybe, not catch a flat or something. But, you just kind of learn and get used to how you're driving in the different areas that you're going to go through that race.
It's pretty cool to understand all that stuff. And so that's one, we were talking about this with Brett Carpenter. He was telling me, because he manages the Polaris Razor race team or racing guys. And he was telling me, he's like, it's a huge advantage when you can know the track. And I like related it back to him to motocross. I was like, Yeah, everybody has a good local track, right? Like everybody from Southern California that grew up in Temecula could rip at Paris, right?
Yeah, right.
And so
Yeah.
so it's like, how are you ever going to compete with that? But it's still like, it brings up a good point that he's talking about. Like the terrain always changes, the track always changes. Some
Right.
of them are loops, some are point to point, but putting themselves in a position to win the race, like giving themselves the best opportunity, is such an awesome thing to be able to do.
Definitely.
Yeah, and also like in everything, there's a lot of stuff that plays into it. Like you said earlier, confidence. Like earlier in the year, I had no confidence because we're not a big team. We don't have a big boy budget, so the 1,000 we almost lost the transmission. I think it was, and for the next like King of the Hammer, San Felipe, it always started like giving out like 150 miles into my section. So everyone thought it was the way I was driving it. Like I was like, braking with the gears, or I was like not speed match or rev matching to downshift.
Yeah, you're
and all this stuff.
Weird.
I'm like, oh my God, like these transmissions cost a lot of money. We're breaking one at almost every race. And I was just like those races, I was just racing not to break the car. I wasn't racing to like, win or anything like that. So once we figured out they put better components and figured out what the problem was, they were like, okay, Alan, it wasn't your fault. you're good. So I was like, okay. And that's when the Baja 500, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to what I know I can do. And, we ended up finishing fourth. So, and then, you know the rest.
Yeah, that's a confidence builder right there.
Definitely.
We had a comment come in that says, do you have to be able to forget things fast in certain situations, like a goaltender forgetting that he just got scored on in soccer?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Like, I mean, there's obviously smaller stuff. Like, if you get a flat, you definitely have to, like, that's why, like, I can refer it to, honestly, golf. You have a bad shot, hit it into the lake. If you try to make up for that bad shot, you're most likely either going to end up in the lake again or, like, not where you could have been if you would have been more patient. So, like, if you just take your time, you already messed up. There's nothing you can do about it. Just try to keep moving, because, like, in Baja or off-road desert racing, it's all about do not have any downtime. If you are, have the pace and whatnot, if you keep moving, you're going to be up there in the end. It's a marathon, not a sprint necessarily in most of them. But, you just have to be able to forget stuff, definitely. And even stuff about previous races, like I've crashed, and that was something to get hard to get over. And, you're not trying not to think about it, but it's definitely in the back of your mind. And it's going to affect your driving because you're freaking scared.
Yeah.
So, you definitely have to be able to learn how to, be strong mentally as well. Because there's a lot of times where you can make a lot of big mistakes and try not to let that get into your head and make more mistakes down the road that will eventually end up hurting your result at the end of the day. So,
well,
I always tell the young kids when they're starting off racing RC cars that picture it like this. This is how I always put it in my head: is that you have a certain amount of change when you take off.
Yeah.
Every time you crash, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's already gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. You can't get it back. You can't go back and have it back to somebody. So try to protect what you have left instead of giving more out. And it's funny because they all of a sudden are like, okay, I get that, because it's.
Well, I think both of you guys are bringing up a good concept, and not to turn it into like a life lesson, but it kind of is, because it'll show you like
Right.
It really does show you like to be able to understand, like, even if something bad happened today, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Like 99% chance tomorrow's going to be a better day. So like forget about it and just move on.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, of course. And learn from your mistakes too. I mean, it's not a life lesson, but at the end of the day, it is. I mean, everything is.
Right.
Even though if it's just a race, you come out a better man, or you just have to learn how to, learn from those mistakes that you commit and, come out better the next time. Or if you can't come out better, or just prepare yourself better, for you to be able to avoid those mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason that I was bringing that up was because the person that asked the question, I actually know who he is, and he, was in the armed forces and stuff like that. So I know that those guys have the same type of mentality, like they can't think about what just happened or what's happening. They can only think about what's going to happen. So I know that he's definitely one of those guys too. He was actually asking another question. He said, you got to race the other racers, but you got to take care of your machine too. It's kind of like a balancing act, but I don't know. I got a kind of separate point to that too. Now, like, because Best in the Desert now is less than score, but Best in the Desert is you're just wide open if you're going to win. Like, you don't give any, that's it. You just pin it the whole time. And if you break, then you're done. But with the score stuff and 1,000 miles, it's a little different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously at San Felipe 250, if you're going to go out win, you're going to send it. And I mean, you can ask, I think it was about Andy that won it last year. He was saying, I mean, he rolled and still was able to win, but you can, I think he was the one telling me, like, oh my God, at the end I was driving like the wheels off the car, like, you know? So it's not like, yeah, we have a little bit longer races down there, but yeah, smaller ones are, you can be considered a sprint, you're going to send it. And obviously, if at the end of the race, no matter in what race, you want to be able to take care of your car earlier so you can have a car to be able to finish strong. And if you have to push at the end, when it comes down to the wire, you want to have a car that you can be able to push and send it and hit stuff and make mistakes, you know? But
yeah,
it's a little bit of a different playing game, but it's all strategy, and, you know, you just have to play it smart.
Yeah, and I think it really like comes back to like what he was saying. Like, he can now feel it. Like, he was saying that he didn't have confidence when they were telling him that he was breaking the transmissions, right? But now he's like, well, I felt all that, and I know what it feels like, so I know what not to do. So if I start feeling that again, I can balance it and either, you know, wait and tell them at the pits to put a new one in, or like to slow it down or whatever it is. So he probably, the more he gets to know the car, the better.
Oh yeah, definitely. Crazy.
And also the driver, you know, you want to be able to feel stuff and know how the car should be reacting, or if something's off. You know, at first I'm no mechanic, like, you know, I can't change the engine or freaking anything like that. I can do the basic stuff. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm a crazy mechanic and can do anything, but, you know, you want to learn to be better. It's like, you know, you want to learn the machine to be better. All the greats know all this stuff about setups and how to, you know, be making the car faster and stuff. So like now I'm the one that goes and tests the car, and I can like feel when it's not reacting the right way with the shocks and all that. So it's little things, little by little, you just get more acquainted, and you might not think about it at first, but in the race, you're like, oh man, there's something like not right here. This doesn't feel right, or hey, check this, because like, you know, you might have a problem where there's no help. So it's good that, you know, you get acquainted with your car and start getting a feel for it, and, you know, even if stuff doesn't go wrong, you can just learn, like we said, from stuff that doesn't go wrong. It doesn't go right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm noticing a common theme, that the way he keeps talking, like, well, first of all, he's humble, but he's really smart. Like, I could only imagine what the co-driver thinks when he's driving, like, and they start getting in sync. Like, wow, like,
probably pretty sweet.
He really knows what he's talking. Do we
Gel
have some
with
comments?
it? Yeah, we do. My bad, Tyrone. I missed the questions there. So Tyrone says, "What's up? What's up in California?" He loved the video, and he said, "Forget about the haters," which is awesome. And he said,
if you're hating on something like that, you got to be a serious keyboard guy.
I don't even get it. Yeah. He loves Papas and Beers. That's his spot, he says. And
hey, that's what's up. Thank you.
Yeah. How many pre-runs do you go on before a race? And how many tires do you go through in a race? So maybe let's put it towards Baja.
Okay. So pre-running, man, I pre-run so much. To be honest, I love pre-running, don't get me wrong, but the first week is fun. The second week, I hate it. I've done it so many times that, like, it's just like, you know, if I didn't have the drive, or, you know, wanted to win so bad, and, you know, we have such a lot of people behind us, like, backing us up, counting on us, I'd be like, I'm done. Like, I already know it, you know, but I go out there and do it as much as I can. Since basically the moment they open pre-running, I go out and do it as many times as I can. I wake up at sometimes 4 or 5 a.m. and I go till 9, 10 p.m. pre-running all day. And I go back home or wherever home is that night and have dinner, wake up at 4 a.m. the next day and do it all over again and do it all over again.
The mind of a passionate racer, dude.
Yep, absolutely.
Until I get sick of it and I'm like, I can't wait for the race.
And then his second question was a perfect plug for Toyo. So he said, how many tires do you go through in a race?
In a race, it all depends, obviously.
0, because you're on Toyos, right?
But I mean, you still, no matter what tires you're running, those cars have so much power that, well, now with the new 40s that we've been running, the prototypes, they're amazing. I love them. Obviously, we've been doing really good with them since we tried them at I think it was the 500 or the 400. And I like them a lot. They can take a lot more punishment. And we go through, let's see, the 1,000, it was you put 6 on the car, so that's 6 to start off with without you doing anything. Then almost 200 miles in, you change the rear ones every 200. So it was probably about like 14, I think, 16 that we went through this last race.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Like that. So it's like two tires every 200 miles, 2 rear tires every 200 miles, no matter what.
You got to remember how much, like, what the terrain they're going through is, the horsepower that they're pushing. Like, that's pretty phenomenal that any tires can last that long.
Totally is. And to this next question, it's a great follow-up to that is, how does your body feel after the Baja 1000?
Dude, I wanted to know this, too, because, like, I'm not just talking about, like, getting beat up. I'm talking about, like, hunger, like, fatigue.
Totally. Well, think about it. Start back to what he was just saying for pre-run. And he's pre-running 12 hours a day or more, and then he's getting 6 hours of sleep if he's lucky, and then he gets up, repeat, does that for 2 weeks, and then you kill yourself for 16 hours. Your body's gotta be...
I drove the start to 350, which was about like 7.5 hours, and then my brother got in and he drove from 6:30 to like 1 a.m. So I had like a 6-hour break. I thought I was gonna be able to sleep. Obviously, with the way the race was going at that point, there's no freaking way in hell I was gonna go to get rest.
Amped, yeah.
I just try to rest and try to get fluids in, and ate like half a sandwich, I think, because I was so excited I wasn't even hungry, But definitely, it was more like a mental one, I think, because of all the water and everything. It like your body's working twice as hard to adapt to everything, and there was so much water in the first half. Like, I was exhausted, but obviously the adrenaline with the way the race was going was through the roof. So I was, awake and alert and ready to go and get back in the car. But once I got home, I was like, I went too freaking passed out for like a couple of days. So, it's just a lot more mental, I think. A lot of people don't realize, we're in a trophy truck with a lot of travel and all the luxury that you can get in these races, but it still beats the crap out of you. Going over 100 miles per hour you're hitting everything harder and faster. So you're definitely a little, not too sore, but you're definitely tired.
Well, I can never relate to like the amount that they feel and move in the car. So I guess I'll say it in 2 ways. Like, so I watched a video of him testing some shocks with Fox I forgot where it was, but anyways, they were testing in whoops, right? And so he's strapped in the truck properly. He's got all the safety equipment on, but still, when you're moving that much weight and you have that much,
G-forces
and stuff, you can see him and his passenger. His passenger actually had his seatbelts a little looser. His passenger was probably moving 8 inches in the seat over each whoop, and he was moving about 6 inches. So no matter how tight you're in there, no matter how much you think you're solid, and no matter how good a suspension you have, your head's still getting whiplash on every single one of them.
Totally.
Your body's still moving around. Like, it's like shaking you on the biggest roller coaster you've ever had for 17 hours.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, definitely. And you obviously have to prepare physically, like, to be able to be ready. I'm not saying I'd go, full blown bodybuilder at the gym, but, I get cardio and fitness enough to be able to take all that. And you don't really think about this, but imagine how many times we turn the steering wheel.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
You're not driving in pavement. You're making little corrections every second for however long you're in the car. So
that's a good point.
And so fast too. Think about those whoops where it starts to do that thing, and you've got it. And
When
And
your feet
And the
usually
brain too. Yeah. It's just,
playing the drums for 17 hours. Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
with a fire suit, helmet, and
Yeah.
Yep.
like inside a cab through the desert.
It's pretty
At wonderful
impressive.
warm qualities. Just 120 degrees sometimes, and then right, you go over a hill and you're like in 60-degree weather. So yeah, it's a lot, but
well, and so Tyrone was also asking, like, how do you know, like mentally get beat up and stuff? But I think you kind of already answered that because, first of all, you have to forget about it if you make a mistake. But I don't know that there's any way to mentally prepare this unless you go through something like what he did and you kind of start racing at a young age.
Right.
Because you can't just be like, they have rent-a-rides, right? Like,
Right.
I know these Australian guys would always come over and they would rent some sort of desert truck or a Pro Light or something.
Sure.
And it's not easy.
Right.
Like, you can't do it. Most of the times they fail. And I'm
Right.
not saying they fail because they're bad drivers. I'm
Right.
not saying, it's just you
Everything.
have to be able to focus and you have to have that mental capacity that you've learned over the years.
Right. Totally.
So what about when you get out of the car? Like, you didn't sleep at the Baja at the 1000 that you won, but how was your brain, your mental capacity when you were done?
well, I mean, right after I got out of the car, everyone was super stoked, leading the race. A little bit less than halfway through, and I was super excited. But then once we got in the car and I went to the next pit where I was going to get back on later that night. My ears were ringing. I was super tired. Like, I'm full of mud. I'm just trying to get fluid sync. I'm having since I don't like to eat much before a race because you don't want anything to be bad in your stomach. So I eat very little and maybe like a protein bar or something and an egg or two. But so I was definitely hungry. But with all the excitement and all the emotions going on, you know that you need to eat, but you're not hungry, so you just forcibly just feeding yourself and getting some liquids in, so you can be able to perform when I was gonna get back in. But yeah, I was good, but I was definitely I was tired. Like it was a long 7.5 hours that I was in for the first half. So just try not to think about it. Get my helmet prepped again for the next 2-3 hours to the finish line, and try to just hang on and then not disappoint anybody and mess up.
Can you imagine that? Most people, like at their regular desk jobs and stuff, they get tired looking at the computer for an hour, like 7 hours looking at something going, 50 to 100 and so miles an hour. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. To Tyrone's point, that the mental focus that whole time, that's draining as well.
Well, and it was a lot harder to concentrate the second half, like to the last, 120 miles that I got in, because we're leading the race, right? Luke is like 20 minutes physical, which we're beating by like 10 minutes. And then Nasser's 10 minutes in corrected time as well. So we have a little window, but you're like, oh my God, 10 minutes. I just have to keep my pace and I'll be fine. Like, it's very hard for somebody to run you down through the last 100 miles, super technical. And I was just like, my head was going like, oh my God, we're about to win this damn thing. My co-driver knew, and I had to, like, we talked about it. He's like, grabbed me right before we got in the car, and he goes, hey, save the moment, dude. And I was like, already excited to get in the car, and he's like, no, like, listen to my voice, corner to corner. Don't think about shit. I'm sorry for saying.
No, you're good. You can say whatever you want.
Think about else, like, just listen to my voice and take it one corner at a time. We'll get through this. I messed up a couple of times, like within 5 miles. He's like, hey, just yelled at me in the intercom. It's like, concentrate, dude. Just come on, get your shit together. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Sorry. Oh. But it's so hard because I've dreamed about doing this or winning that race since I was a baby, and like in that class, with everything that our family had gone through that year and all that stuff. So it was like all these emotions are, coming in that you don't even know that they were going to come out at the worst time, the last 100 miles. So you're just trying to keep your head straight. And, Steve, my co-driver, did an awesome job and kept me on task. And, we were able to come out on top on that one. So that's pretty cool.
That's another pretty impressive, looking back, turning point of the event, right? Had that guy not had the mental fortitude to grab you, right, so to speak, and go, hey,
Yeah, to refocus.
concentrate, all this hard work. You know what I mean? It was you probably immediately were like, okay, yes.
Well, dude, I know that most like racers can agree with that. The co-driver is like your therapist. Like
Oh,
they got to
man.
get you to refocus
Oh,
on
yeah.
like
Totally.
everything. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Oh, he'd make a fine therapist for
Dude,
sure.
Yeah.
and every single time I'm ever with the co-driver, I'm like, dude, like this guy is so much more important than the guy holding the steering wheel. Like, and like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not discrediting any drivers because they're awesome,
Of
but
course.
every single guy that's a driver will be like, dude,
I
this
need
guy
this
is
guy.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's If we probably wouldn't have one if we didn't have the co-drivers that we had, and even my brother Rodrigo got in the car with Aaron for a little bit.
Oh,
and,
cool. Wow. Awesome.
we wouldn't have been able to perform as good as we have in the past, and for this last race as well. He kept me in check, and a lot of times where you could tell that I was spacing off or whatever, he'd like give me a little slap through the intercom and be like, "Hey, wake up!" But that's part of their job too, and we teamed up with Steve Covey, which has some pretty good history with a lot of racers and has been very successful. But we didn't even think about it till later on. I was like, dude, this is the first time he's won it too, and he's dreamed about this as much as I have. And in the moment you kind of get lost in your own feelings and everything that you're going through. But we always take a step back, and he knows how much we love him. And this win, as much as it's ours or mine, it's everyone else in the shop and Steve and my parents, everyone that helped us out along
That's
the
a
way.
good point to bring up too, is like that team effort. So we were talking about the preparation to be able to win a race like that, right? Like you got to have the trucks and chase trucks and the race truck and the team and the drivers and all that stuff. Like the amount of gratitude that you have to have at the end of that, like everybody has to have like the same sentimental value of the win. It's so rad.
Yep. And remembering everybody that was there to make it possible. All those people, and so cool.
And a lot of people like us, at least, we have all the volunteers basically for all the pit stuff. So it's pretty cool that people, want to take time out of their days to go out, and at the end of the day, you have to go out and perform. It's not like, we take it seriously. So we know they do too, and they have been doing a great job. So couldn't be more proud of them.
So we had a comment come in from Brian again. He is asking, did you have a certain reason that you made the truck pink?
Yeah. So our mom was detected with breast cancer last year. So that's basically it. A lot of people were also saying like, "Oh, why is that truck pink?" I'm like, "Well, breast cancer, so you can't really talk smack on that." So whoever it is, I'll go find them and slap them in the face. But it's a pretty cool cause. Anything that we can do to promote breast cancer awareness, and our mom was lucky enough to get early detection, which is basically a fundamental piece for your survival rate, or the survival rate of any of the victims. And we just thought it was something, she didn't ask for it. We just thought it was something cool, that a little something that we can give back. And it's been really cool. Obviously, after winning the Baja 1000 with it, it's definitely staying.
Yeah,
for sure.
How's she doing? She doing good?
She's doing awesome. She's, obviously with all this pandemic going around, my parents are a little extra careful. We didn't really see them for the first 3 months, but slowly we can walk in the house now, and we don't hug her or anything, but keep our distance. But they're good. They're just hanging out now at the house and trying to get by like everyone else.
Yeah, exactly, and just keep safe and stuff. Well, that's cool, man. I'm really excited. I really think that there's a lot of coolness that goes on in the dirt world or the off-road industry, because all these cool projects, they usually have some sort of sentimental meaning, right? Like, or what they're into. Like I saw one guy has his Razor dressed up like an old aircraft fighter. You know what I mean?
Oh, cool.
Of the sentiment that he had. Like my project that I built, that Yamaha YXZ, was called Project Unicorn because it was like a unicorn for me. You know what I mean? So there's so many people that have these cool messages behind their.
Yep.
You know what we should do? We should do a Dirt Life show at Tech and Contingency one time and ask the meaning of everything that's going on with those. That would be super cool.
That's cool. Yeah, for sure. I know there's a lot more. And a lot of people, everyone has their own problems and struggles, and,
amen to that.
Stories. So it's just one way to express ourselves in a sport that we love. And, we love our mom, and if we can save somebody because they saw a cool pink truck and they're like, don't really think about detecting themselves because it always just happens to somebody else's family. It never happens to you until it happens to you and you're like, holy crap, you know? So, you know, it's just a little something we can give back. It's not much, but, you know, we are happy to do it and hopefully we can keep being successful and take that pink truck to new heights.
Yeah, exactly. And like Tyrone says, like even more important than winning a race, respect to your moms, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's see. What are a couple other questions? We already asked what it felt like. One of the questions that I was going to ask you. So obviously, you know, there's a lot of kids that look up to you. There's even other racers that might be older than you that look up to you. But who are some of the racers, whether in the off-road world, you know, F1, MotoGP, who are some of the racers that you look up to? Like, I know you said Jeremy McGrath, but who else?
Obviously, growing up, I idolized Rick Huseman, Walker. What was it? Why am I going blank?
Walker Evans.
Walker? No, it was not Walker Evans. I mean, obviously Walker Evans too is a legend, but
Right.
Iron Man, Ivan Stewart.
No, Evan Evans. Oh,
Yeah.
why was I drawing blank? Evan Evans. I just thought he was so badass. You know, not being able to move his legs or anything. He was doing everything that we would just with his hands.
Yep.
And you know, look inside his truck. He had a motor grip, and he like twisted the throttle. I don't even know how he did it. And he was racing short course, and he was still competitive. You know, so it was pretty cool. And then you know, one time I asked him for an autograph, and he just wrote on a piece of his fender, "Never give up." So I thought that was pretty cool. And, you know, Evan Evans, Dilla Dukes, my brother, my dad, Travis Pastrana, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, all those just work really hard. I mean, Robbie Gordon, who doesn't love Robbie Gordon if you love off-road.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys, I mean, I can keep going on and on, even though some of them are my friends nowadays. And it's pretty cool to see that, you know, they're pretty cool and down to earth, and you know, you grow up idolizing somebody, and then you know you're hitting them up to go hang out or whatever, you know. So it's pretty cool to this is family, you know, a big family off road or just action sports as well. You know, it all falls under the same umbrella. I feel like so.
Well, what I like best about that answer is that you can tell that he takes a little snippet from each one of those people and like really focuses on, I like this about him, I like this about him, so that he can grow as being a racer himself, like the true racer answer, you know what I mean?
Right, and to the fact that it's about people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, absolutely.
So, and then the second thing is a lot more personal to me, but a statement that I like to go by as well is never give up too. The reason I don't race dirt bikes anymore is because I was paralyzed in 1998 in a dirt bike accident at Glen Helen racing my first national. I was racing against Jimmy Button coming down the hill and I crashed. And so to date, I've broken every bone in my body except for the humerus here. And last year at the UTV World Championship, I almost lost my life, and I've been doing pretty good, eating as many tacos as I can and coming back. So it's that never give up mentality, and the Evan Evans story really resonates a lot with me. So I appreciate you being humble and recognizing somebody like him. That's super cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's badass. You're more badass than most of us for not giving up. You know, after I crashed in the trophy truck, it's not the same. You know, nothing. I was just bruised up, but a lot of times it's like, oh man, I don't know if this is for me anymore. Like I woke up with nightmares, and I mean, I can only imagine what all the demons you have to fight off to keep on going. So it's pretty badass to have people like you in the sport and show people how freaking tough we can be, and to, you know, never give up, even though we have different struggles. You know, it all applies. Nobody has a perfect life, so I think it's pretty cool, and everyone has their own story. So I don't know. I just get inspired by a lot of different things.
Yeah, exactly. And like the Evan Evans story that you brought up, like it's not that he just never wants to give up. He literally wants to just live his life the best that he can, you know, like all of us do. And he's given himself the best opportunity to do it. So I think a lot can be said from your comment of liking him, first of all, and then understanding like what can happen in these racing situations, and knowing that, you know, you're going out and doing something that's very dangerous, but you love it so much that you're willing to do it. And it's just such a cool thing, man. Like I love the dirt life, and I love these stories.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, there's so many stories, even from any race. You come out, you're talking about this freaking racing stories, and then you forget, and you're like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you guys,
Yep.
this happened. I mean, you go through a freaking lifetime of experiences every race. I mean, I almost puked a couple of times because I got close to like hitting this one spectator that crossed the road when I was following Tavo, and I flew in this jump, and he must have not heard me because I was literally on Tavo's bumper, and I saw a video later, and it was a lot further than what I thought. But inside the car, I was like, oh my god, like I freaking puked in my mouth. And there's like a lot of stuff that you can take away and just like try to be more responsible as a driver, and try to maybe even do something so fans can be a little more responsible. But it is what it is, and race this not for the wicked, it's for the crazy, and not the so sane. But like you said, it's a very dangerous sport, and I don't think about it once I'm driving, but I think after a race or something like that, you're like, that was sketchy. Remember that one time? Yeah. So it's like,
but during you feel like you're almost calm, like in the zone, like when you're doing it. And I think that's something that you've got to be. I don't want to say is gifted to have, like the right way to explain that, like, or learned. I don't know, because you can't just put anybody in a situation like that.
Yeah, it's a different mentality for sure.
Yeah, but when you're done and you're successful at it, it's like just thinking about all this stuff that we're talking about. Can you imagine, like, well, he's obviously experienced, but like a veteran, like let's just say Rob McCachran or somebody. We have this show because we want to hear all these stories, right? If you were sitting by a fire with Rob McCachran, you could probably sit there for a week and never even open your mouth and listen to the stories.
Yep, agreed.
Could you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
And the stories like what he's saying, like, could you, like all of the stuff that they talk about for the weeks after? I would love to just have, a bird listening, in for those, man.
So many lessons. Yep.
So cool. All right. So what's the future hold for you? Are you going to, 2020 is kind of fucked up, but like, what's the future hold for you?
Yeah, just a little. Well, I don't know. Just kind of waiting, to see. Hopefully, the score series opens up, and obviously, if it keeps getting canceled, maybe we'll look into doing a best in the desert one. But for the rest of this year, just wait for score, and hopefully, we get to go racing. And
did they have any updates on that?
Well, it just got announced the other day that it got switched to September, so now we get to wait a little longer, which is kind of a bummer, but. It is what it is. They're trying to keep everyone safe, and I think it's a safe decision, and we're just gonna follow what they say and go. Hopefully, by 2021, everything's back to normal, and we can go back to a full series and go back racing. And I definitely want to do more, like a couple of UTV like races, like Works or World Championship or something like that. Because driving after getting to Can-Am this last year, man, they're so fun. Like I forgot how fun. And they're so fast, and I don't know. I just feel like it's something we only get to race four times a year, so I feel like getting another race or so in there wouldn't do me any bad. So hopefully we'll see how that works out. But as far as right now, it's just racing the score series and just that.
So I got two questions. The first one is, is there enough time to get ready if they move the 500 to September? Is there enough time to get ready for the 1,000 then afterwards? Like, or is it kind of close?
I mean, I think so. I think everyone, at the end of the day, if it gets moved to October, like early October, I mean, you're still gonna make it work. It's about 1,000, But for those bigger races, you want to have a little bit more time to prep everything and make sure everything's good, but I mean, you're gonna make it work one way or the other. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It wouldn't be ideal, but if whatever happens, and we'll be ready for it.
So Tyrone Robinson, he was making a comment towards a mountain bike video that we did saying never give up. Well, I appreciate that, Tyrone. That's awesome. But I think it's true with everybody that's on this conversation and a lot of our listeners too. They never give up. They all have the same mentality as all of us. So, all right. So I want to know, since you just brought it up, what would be like a cool UTV race for you to do? Because I want to go. Like I've done short course, I've done the UTV World Championship and all that stuff. But I'm really, really wanting to go to Texplex. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah. Because I'm really with RJ and all that, and I saw his vlog where he just went and did the pit bag race, and then Ronnie the UTV, and that track looked a lot of fun. It looked like it had a lot of like double lines, and talking to Ronnie and RJ, they said it was a lot of fun.
It looks sick. It looks all moto.
Yeah. Yeah, that little pit bike and then the UTV one, it looked really, really fun. So that's definitely also one that I'd be willing to be looking at. And, obviously with the schedule and everything with work, once they go back to normal, I'll just have to make one that works around my schedule. But, hopefully I get to do a lot more than one, but we're just going to have to wait and see how all this pandemic and everything else works out.
Yeah, exactly. We've been kind of being pushed around too with all this stuff because I wanted to go to Texplex, but I had to work. But so keep me in the loop. Like if you do go to any of these races, let us know, and like we'll try to see if we could head out to the same one. That'd be sweet to just all get together and have a good time racing.
Sure.
So
100%.
Have you got to drive any of the newer Can-Ams? Like we just had Hunter Miller on, was it last week? And he was saying that those 2021 Can-Ams with all the computerized shocks is like super cool.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I went to test one at the Deegan compound with my brother Rodrigo, and we were spent all day shooting and filming for that the new release of it. And they're badass, man. I mean, it's crazy how technology is playing a big role now in our industry. And I mean, who the hell would have known that, 10 years ago, we're going to no, in 10 years, we're going to have this button that you're going to click.
Yeah,
right. Stiffen the suspension so you can send it, or if you want to go on a graded road, you're going to push the comfort. It's going to be super comfy. And, a lot of people are like, is it really real? Like, is this actually work? Or is it just like, just to sell more cars?
Oh, it works.
No, like,
it works.
You can like literally feel the difference. Like you press it and it's like loose, has a little more obviously comfort, body roll and all that. And then you press Sport Plus, you can feel the stiffness. You can ride into stuff harder and, like just punish the cars a little more. But they're badass.
It really is cool. Soon it'll be in the RC car world.
Oh man, yeah, if they could get it that small.
It would be pretty cool. Well, that'll be neat, dude. Like I think that's cool. Like I'm really glad that the UTVs are gaining a little bit of, I don't know, more confidence, I guess, in the UTV market because they're building them better and stuff. Because like everybody wants to drive a trophy truck, right? So for him to say something like that, like I've heard Pro 4 drivers say the same thing, like, yeah, I want to race a UTV now. So it kind of means a lot to me being a UTV guy. Sure. That's like, oh wow, like we're getting a little bit more respect. So, not that any of the UTV stuff is bad. It's cool.
I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we had posted a few things. So if people want to get a hold of you, we got a rapid fire Q&A coming up real quick. But if people want to get a hold of you, it's at Alan_AMP on Instagram, right?
Yes, sir.
So you guys can also visit at the Dirt Life Show, and you guys can check out some of the latest posts that we've done, and go check out his videos and stuff. I tell you what, if you haven't seen that amped video yet with Toyo Tires and Little John, you have to go check it out. I didn't know that the body was pink because of his mom, so that adds a lot of character
awesome,
to the video.
For sure. Yep.
And the fact that some of the stuff had never been done before is super cool.
Definitely.
And knowing the dangers and stuff, like just so cool to hear behind the scenes.
And then seeing that Little John with a real reaction, like you said, it was not that he was dubbing it in later. That's
like it was legit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
so,
it was legit.
That's super cool, man.
All right, Alan, let me throw this at you real quick, as I think you're going to appreciate it. Tyrone just posted this. It's a Bible verse. Do you not know those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. Thank you for that, Tyrone. Oh, yeah. I think that resonates with all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, so you want to do a rapid fire Q&A with us real quick? We'll go fast. All right, Case, you want to start?
I think we know iRacing or real racing. Isn't that funny?
I mean, come on, guys. Real racing.
Right.
It is cool that we have the option now, though, right?
Hey, yeah, for sure. I'm not complaining.
All right. Justin Barsha or Cooper Webb?
Cooper Webb.
Oh, you're going Cooper Webb? What? You're on the Webb train, the Webb wagon?
Well, no, I've actually met the guy. He's pretty cool, and I mean, he's fast. He's a shorter guy, so I know how much harder it is. for him to be good, like through the woods and all that. Cause
Agreed.
for sure.
Vertically challenged.
I'm sure too. So it definitely brings a little bit more of a challenge. So, I like the guy.
So you know what? I think that's actually a good thing though too. So he's saying that they're both on the vertically challenged scale, but I think they both have good racecraft though. Because Cooper Webb's racecraft is like off the chain,
It's
but a lot of the
insane.
stuff that he said today with his mindset and his racecraft.
Very much so. Okay, we probably know this answer too. Favorite food?
I actually really like pasta.
Nice.
What kind? Like, if you going like lasagna, or are you going like spaghetti?
Whenever I go to a restaurant that I haven't tried this pasta at, I need to order it.
Oh, really?
Because I'm like testing who has the best fettuccine alfredo with chicken.
Nice.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
Dude, you get the breadsticks, you dip it in there.
Lap it up.
Little Smokies or pizza rolls?
Pizza rolls. I like pizza.
Yeah, same here.
Corona or Pacifico?
Neither.
What
I'm
about?
sorry. That's like more like an American. Like I'm more like a Tecate Light, Heineken.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, that's the reason that we ask some of these questions, because they're profiling questions.
Yeah.
So, what's the next one? Did you ask Corona or Pacifico?
I did.
Pizza or hamburger?
Oh man. Since I already said pizza rolls, I'll go with hamburgers because I love them both. So I couldn't decide.
What do you put on that hamburger? You go cheese, like all the dressings?
I don't go crazy. I'm not that big of a fan of cheese, but I do like American cheese on my hamburgers for sure.
Dude, I'm going like avocado, jalapenos, like the whole deal.
Oh, yeah.
Uggs or Crocs? I hate this question.
What was that?
Uggs or Crocs? He's San Diego. We know the answer.
Yeah. No Crocs. Definitely.
That's a profiling question too, though. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we already know the answer to this one, but maybe
it'll surprise us.
How about I'm going to change it up a little bit. Most memorable race other than the Baja 1000
Just in
that you won.
case. Yeah.
I think I can't remember the year exactly, but it was when we were racing 1600 and Baja 1000, where me and my younger brother split it halfway, which is kind of nobody does it in the 1600 class because it's so demanding, but it was just really cool, and we ended up like top 20 overall. Like we were like the 8th trophy truck, like the second class one,
Wow.
and I think maybe only one class 10 beat us.
Dang,
So
that's
we were
cool.
like really up there.
In 1600?
And it was, and I drove 11 and a half hours, and my brother drove 12. So it was really crazy. It was super physically demanding, but the result came out, and it was pretty amazing. So that was one of my favorite. For sure.
After a race like that, that's when Tyrone needs to ask about that mentally fatigued like
Absolutely.
Dude,
1600.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just like, whoa. That's impressive.
Yeah,
that to me, like coming from a racer, obviously winning the Baja 1000 is the creme de la creme. But that to me, like, is like unbelievable that they did that.
Well, it's like sitting in a washing machine for 16 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is this me? It is. Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Man, I'd have to go between cookies and cream or coffee. Yeah, super lame, but I just love coffee ice cream.
I'm with you. I like both of those.
I'm not a huge fan of coffee, so I'll go cookies and cream on that one. Ski or snowboard?
Snowboard.
Dogs or cats?
Ooh. My girlfriend will kill me if I say dogs, but either. I was a dog guy up until I started dating my current girlfriend, and she has a cat, and yeah, I'm a cat dad now, I guess.
All right, we could switch it up though. Like one of our previous guests, his name's Justin Smith from a company called Shock Therapy. They do UTV suspension, and his wife is really into animals and stuff. And they had a crocodile and a kangaroo as a pet. What would you take out of those two?
Definitely, maybe the kangaroo.
I don't know. He said the kangaroo was
nasty.
gnarly. He said the kangaroo was like.
Well, yeah, but at least I still have like a fighting chance to
agreed.
Like get one lucky punch. Like I don't know if I can go up to the crocodile and try to wrestle that thing. Like,
so you want to hear the craziest part about that story? They kept the crocodile in the bathtub.
I've heard that before,
dude.
In the bathtub?
How the heck would you even like? I don't know, dude.
What?
He told the
What's
story,
that?
and I was like mind blown. I was like freaking.
Yeah, what's
out
the
about it.
end game there?
You got to get rid of the
It's too
crocodile.
big
Right?
now. What do
Why
we-
do you keep like? I'm not even sure they make up signs that say "keep away crocodile." Now.
yeah.
Yeah, but what if they're like, hey, you guys want to come over and like watch the Super Bowl, and you like go in the bathroom, and you're like, oh shit, like
Oh, shit, yeah.
crocodile.
Beware of crocodile.
No way, dude.
Like
Those things are scary.
Yeah.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Burrito or taco?
Oh, we already know.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, I'll eat either, but tacos are.
So now that you're in Carlsbad, like whenever we were up there, like if we wanted like something super hearty, we'd get a California burrito. Have you had one of those yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the potatoes.
course.
I love those bad boys too.
With the papas.
Who is this next one? Me?
Supercross or motocross? Yeah, that was you.
You can go.
Supercross or motocross?
I Supercross just because when I was younger racing motocross because we didn't really have Supercross tracks for that little back in the day, but I only raced in like the bigger outdoor ones and I loved it, but my ultimate goal was to race Supercross because that was like in an arena and the famous guy saying
Yep.
with the freaking crazy voice, but so I was Supercross.
Yeah. Are you ready for Supercross?
Mhm.
Get all into it. Oh, this is going to be a good one. And you can pick anything, but what other form of racing would you like to try? So it could be on the water, it could be in the air, it could be on pavement, off-road, whatever.
I think I'd like to do obviously like realistically not Formula One, but maybe like a Le Mans or something like that, something on pavement. I always find it super interesting because it's a lot more about knowing your braking points, the throttle control, more car control, and all that stuff. So I always find those guys are freaking insane and they're super talented. So
I think so
that's something
too.
that I'd love to try.
So I've always got a lot of respect for the guys that do like the prototypes and stuff cars, but I thought that like if I was going to do it, I'd want to do like kind of like what Chad Reed did. Like he's getting in one of the sports cars. It's obviously a tuned race car, but like
Right.
drive more of a street-based car.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
I don't know.
Touring
Does it,
car series, kind of.
yeah, like or like a let's just say a Porsche or something like
Yeah.
that. But do you think it would require more driving skill set to drive one of those than a purpose-built like prototype race car?
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like maybe it does. However, you're probably limited by horsepower a little bit.
Yeah.
So it probably splits the difference a little bit. Like maybe if it was unlimited engine, maybe that'd be a different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. But that is
That'd be
good,
pretty cool.
especially if you like. Now that he's done all this pavement driving in a Pro
Yeah.
too,
He's like, oh, I want to be glued,
You're
not,
like sticking
not
to the
loose
track.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
the final question. It's you.
Here we go.
We know the answer.
Chips and guacamole or fries and ketchup. Or it could be ranch.
Wait, rice and ketchup?
Fries.
Fries and ketchup.
Oh,
French
is it
fries.
rice and ketchup. I'm like, who does that?
Yeah, right.
I actually really like fries. So
Do you?
fries.
You're going fries?
That chips and salsa, to be honest, is super American. Like you don't go to a traditional Mexican spot and they'll
They
give
laugh at you.
Chips and salsa to like chill and eat. Like you go to a taco stand where you stand, it's just the taco.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love my guacamole with chips. I eat it all the time, but I love French fries.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. But I do love me some chips and guacamole.
I love me some chips and guacamole, but I love
yeah.
that. I love that he can back it up.
Yeah, for
Let me
sure.
tell you why I want fries and ketchup.
Let me tell you why.
I love
Yeah.
it. That's
Well, just
great.
like you
Because
said,
growing-
like we won't ever be like anytime we go to Mexico, we won't ever be like drop dead if we don't have Tecate Light with us. Like that's all we bring, like no matter what.
Yeah.
So, like, because like when you're going down there, like if some guy like pops out a Bud Light or something, you're like, dude,
He's out.
yeah,
You might be able to
Come
get
on.
some. You might be able to get some
Around
race
here.
parts with that. And you can't get any race parts with that Bud Light. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, hey, we really appreciate you coming on the show, dude, staying up with us and stuff like that. We had some plans to come out. We were supposed to do a live show at Honda Off-Road in not this Friday, but next Friday. So I was going to bring my road. I was going to bring my road because they're in Pomona, and I was going to bring my road bike. I'm staying in Encinitas, so if I do end up going out there, like I know that they shut down today, but if I do end up going out there and I'm in Encinitas, I'll give you a buzz. Maybe we can go get some lunch or something.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hit me up. I'd love to.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on and taking. Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, and you got yourself a bunch of new fans for sure, Brian Hawkins, us two here, and everybody else that was listening.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, 100%. We had some more comments come in, but we'll let you go, man. We really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great night, and say hi to the family.
All right, thank you guys. You guys stay safe.
You too, bud. See you later.
Take care.
Man, that was super cool. Like I really like the fact that the show gives us the opportunity to be able to understand who some of these people are. Like tech and contingency is an awesome place to be, right? Like you get to meet all these people, you get to talk to them, but you can talk to them for 2 seconds.
Right.
Other than that, you might see them on social media. Like the show gives us the opportunity to really ask questions and have fun with these people that have such amazing personalities, amazing lives. Like who would have thought that the truck was pink because of something that he was so passionate about for his mom?
Love it.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It brings a realism to the whole racing scene and to the racing effort.
It totally does.
So,
or that his moto career stopped because of 6 stitches.
Yeah.
Like, and then he's going 100 and how much in a trophy truck on
what's
the
safer,
edge
right?
of on the edge of control. Yeah, it's amazing.
But
and you don't get to hear that.
You really don't. So, well, thank you very much to Alan Ampudia for
sure.
Joining us and being on the show, man. We really appreciate it. We know that we're just a little show, but we really appreciate people devoting their time and they're passionate about the same things that we're passionate about. So he stayed on the phone with us for a long time, and he was a really, really energetic dude. So
and lots of great questions from all our listeners too.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you guys very much for tuning in. We know that Ford is they're still probably talking about this dang Bronco,
probably
right? So
are.
They took all the potential viewers that we had.
Yep.
But we really do appreciate you guys staying glued to the screen and watching our little janky show. It was really nice of you guys. So thank you very much to all of our sponsors. We want to thank the guys at Shock Therapy for always being a part of us. We have a show with Matt Burke at Shock Therapy on Friday, July 17th, and that's going to be a live show. We're going to do it up at Shock Therapy, so we won't have a show on Monday. We're just going to do it on Friday this week, so that's going to be really, really cool. I don't know what the logistics behind it will be, if people can come and show up, but we'll know a little bit more later this week. So if you pay attention to our social media, maybe you can come hang out. If not, then just watch us. It's going to be super cool to have a different environment to sit in and talk with people. So we'll talk with Justin Smith while we're up there too. But if you want to go to their website, you can obviously go and save some money by using the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com. We just talked about therapists 3 times tonight.
Yep.
So go and save some money. You can always give them a call and talk to the boys up at the front, and you tell them that the Dirt Life sent you. Thank you very much to the guys at Solderweld for always being there with us. Discount code DIRTLIFE at solderweld.com. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at ruggedradios.com. You can also use the code DIRTLIFE at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. And, of course, thank you to Ryan and all the guys at KMC Wheels for being such a awesome part of the show, man. We love all the sponsors, and even more so, we love all of you guys in the audience. You guys are our lifeblood, and we really, really appreciate it. We talk about some fun stuff, some emotional stuff. We talk about some just off-the-wall stuff, and it's neat that you guys are able to contribute and be with us, man. It's all these comments and everything. I was thinking if we didn't have live shows, how it would feel. And I kind of have a feeling that I would miss everybody commenting in and hanging out with us.
I would for sure. No doubt.
So thank you guys very much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Casey, obviously, everybody is with you in, the short time that you've been missing your dad. So we all love and miss Jim very much. Next week, like I said, this week, for next week's show, we got Matt Burke of Shock Therapy now, formerly DynoJet Matt. And we really appreciate all you guys. Do you have anything else to say before we take off?
No, I'm good. Thanks for everybody, all my friends reaching out over this last hard week. Much appreciated. We love you guys.
Yeah, really brings
and gals.
Yeah, it really brings to light how much life means and how much people care about you.
Yep.
So thank you very much, everybody. We love you guys. Have a great night.
Thanks for listening to the Dirt Life Show.